It's not doom and gloom. It is a biblical happening of wake up. That if we don't respond in the right way, we're in big trouble. We've been given such an amazing gift and the highest consciousness this planet has ever witnessed, to become the most highest enlightened beings in the whole of the system of the universe. So this is a very important time in our making. Stargate happened and they took me to Atlantis and Lemuria. People are going to be upgrading the planetary alignments, the vibration of the Schumann resonance, the crystal frequency raising to the highest it's ever done. Jumping into the quantum space is going to be easy. The problem is, because it's been quickened up now, everything's turning into chaos. 2032 was going to be the end. There is no doubt that we have had alien species down here. They've got time travel, teleporting. They've got all of it from alien technology. Gabriel said that it's a landmark check-in point. I don't want to say too much, but the Lucifer energy is free and it is creating havoc. And it is the biggest war of light and dark. Oh! What the hell? Did you see that?
I wanted to take you off planet for a bit because you had a very extraordinary direct experience this year. Since we last spoke, you've a spontaneous Stargate journey to an advanced planet, as you put it. Can you take me through the journey? What happened?
I can't believe it even happened. There is no end to the evolvement of our souls at the moment. And I recall, just quickly digressing, as I normally do, darling.
We love your digressions, by the way, so please take your time.
I used to have to really concentrate hard on getting up to angel realms. It used to be a really hard visualization, made sure I was in the right energy, and then, if there was any distraction, that would be a massive problem. And it used to take, this is about 20 years ago, but now, literally, I can flick a switch and I can connect with them and I know I'm in their energy, and then I'll get a synchronicity, sign, numerology, whatever it is to say, we're with you. And
sorry for interrupting, but is that a thing that is because you're more experienced? Or is that a thing because the times have changed and they're more readily available to people to work with en masse at large?
Bit of both. When I wrote Earthwalkers, no, please interrupt, because otherwise, you know me, I'll talk for like 6 hours without interruption. When I wrote Earthwalkers, which was a book of prophecy, but I wrote it as a spiritual fantasy story 12 years ago, this was all prophesized, and I didn't have a clue. And so Earthwalkers, they talk about portal mediums that are mediums that move up another level and start connecting with the cosmos, the universe, and the planetary energy. And some mediums will stay back and deal with afterlife and just particular sources. So they basically put that in there, I feel, to say that I'm a portal medium, because suddenly I started seeing and feeling the planet and predicting things that are happening here. And then all of this Stargate business happened, and they took me to Atlantis and Lemuria, frequency of Lemuria before. And I'd never been there. I didn't know where I was going and what I was doing, which is typical for me because I normally just always get it from source. And so I've noticed that I am jumping into different dimensions so much easier. And the most incredible thing is when I come back and speak to some of my learned friends, they go, yeah, that sounds like this. I'm like, really? So yeah, we've seen those beings before. We've seen this. And they're actually confirming what I've been to and seeing. And I feel this is because of the consciousness shift, or the rising of the consciousness of everybody. People are going to be upgrading, if you like, and being open to so much more than they ever have been. The planetary alignments, the vibration of the Schumann resonance, the crystal frequency raising to the highest it's ever done. It's a given that the people that are open to this are going to open their consciousness even more. Jumping into the quantum space is going to be easy. This is where we're going to be seeing lots more awareness of other realities, dimensional phases, which I don't get too engrossed in because I find it quite confusing, alternate realities and things like that. Time continuum, slips, all that sort of thing is going to be so prevalent that in a couple of years' time, we'll look back and go, well, yeah, it exists, rather than it being a mystery. So this particular time, they taught me, they said about 2-3 years ago, the spirit world, the angel realms, whatever you want to call them, because they all come in, they all flood in. They said, right, because I was doing meditations a lot, because obviously I was going through my bereavement. I thought, right, I need to stay in an alpha brainwave state and keep positive and process everything. And so they said, press record. And I'm like, well, no, this is my meditation. Like, no, you need to show the masses how easy it is once they're in that zone, and show them what we've got to tell you. I'm like, okay then. So I started recording my meditations, and this is how this one happened. And I honestly thought I was going to go up for a nice little walk around the Crystal Palace, which is the home of most of the frequencies and layers. They all like clump together. I thought I'd go and see a nice little angel or something like that, have a chat with Jesus. So this stunning man who was really tall with this, but he had really short cropped, like light grey hair and these most stunning blue-green eyes. And he just looked at me like he had known me for thousands of years. He most probably has, but I've forgotten that part of my soul journey. And just took me through this Stargate. It was like a portal. I just walked straight through. I had no idea where I was going, what I was doing. I just go with it every time. And we're on this planet. I think it was in the Pleiadian system. But these look like Nordics. And I don't know anything about alien stuff. I just know what I know from what I experience. I don't look up people. People talk about, oh, have you watched this person? Have you watched that? No, I don't do that. Because it gets in the way of my transmission, because I worry that if I watch other people, am I creating that in my subconscious? I want it pure and clear. So many, especially when I go to like GSIC, which we've got now Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection on the 10th, 12th September this year, right? They're all like learned world speakers of aliens and goodness, military and disclosure. And they go, do you know so-and-so? No. And they're like, oh, how can you not know that person? Because I don't want to know what other people have got to say. I've got to keep pure, if you like. So this place, he said to me, this is what your planet will end up like. And it is almost unbelievable, because I can't explain to you the feeling of tranquility and silence, funnily enough. The silence, tranquility, the calm. And I was watching these people, I'm going to say people, not beings, and they had this long white blonde hair. They all had the most startling blue eyes. And they just like either nodded, or there was just this very majestic smile as I went past. There was complete calm and respect. It was, if there was, a word to describe it, namaste. It was honouring each other's souls, and they were just doing their business, walking around. There's this huge water fountain, and all of the buildings were very, again, I have to say, calm. There was an energy emitting from these buildings, all very white. It was all beautifully landscaped. And I know this is going to sound really weird, but I even felt like I was communicating with this water. Everything was alive and sentient and acknowledging each other. And I said, this is not going to be Earth. He said, it will be. It will be. So I'm like, okay. So then to the left, there was this huge, massive domed structure. And he said, this is the first thing I want to show you. And when I walked in, there were literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pods, like these glass pods. And the first one he took me to, he said, this lady's got a problem with her baby. So she was like quite near to having her baby. And you could see this like sound frequency and light. That's what it was, with crystals encrusted around the structure, and it was going in to the baby. So there was obviously some problem with the baby that hadn't been born yet, and this was just rectifying it. And he said the baby would be absolutely fine. So I said, so what is this, laser? He went, no. It's sound, colour and light, infused and generated by these crystalline formulations that were around the side of this pod. So incredibly, I think about, it might have even been that inspired me to say sound frequency is going to kill cancer. Sound frequency is what we need to be working. I've been saying this, in fact, for a year. The angels have been telling me. And then within about 2 or 3 days, it came up on the media that they were using sound frequency that was zapping cancer. And you're like, okay. So they always time these journeys perfectly, because then something scientifically or in the media will back up what I've seen. So I walked through these pods. There were all people there. Some of them were awake and just smiling at me. There was no pain. It was just literally them working on whatever was wrong with their bodies. It was insane. But when I was in there, I can't tell you the power of the energy you'll see in the video. Well, you've obviously seen it, so I thank you for watching it. But the heart palpitations were like I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I was breathless, and I started panicking because the power in there I couldn't really handle. And I can handle angel energy, a lot of different energies in the universe, but that was palpable, the energy in there. And I started to panic, and I think he could sense that. So I said, like, my physical body's not dealing with this very well. You're going to have to get me out of here. So he literally took me out of one of the side doors. It was like I can't describe it as a giant orangery. It was like the Victorian giant greenhouse. It was all glass, but there was no heat or cold. It was just the frequency was overwhelming me. And so I've never had that before. It was really hard going in there. So he took me out. And as soon as I got out, my heart slowed down. And as we come out, this huge wolf, like a dire wolf, it was huge, white, with just grey bits on it, with the most stunning blue eyes, just stood there looking at me. And I remember someone saying in my comments that there is a wolf, there's a planet that's called something wolf. So I don't know if that was a planet I was on. I still haven't really worked it out. And it just looked at me, but I knew it was reading my soul and connecting with me. It was really strange. And then people think, the skeptics, oh, you've got a great imagination, you're making it up. But when you start putting all the dots together and seeing the reality of what you're seeing come out as a scientific breakthrough, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You stay in your little skeptical corner. So we then walked further forward. There were beautiful waterfalls. They looked like there were bigger beings in the distance. There were mountains, and they looked like they were even bigger than these blonde-haired people, even bigger beings in the distance. And then he said, come with me, I'm going to show you something. And it was this huge, vast building. And he said, this is how we manage our craft. So I'm like, okay. He said, we've shown you the pods before where you can go in and sit inside your soul and see every journey that's taken place in your whole existence. You could be thousands of years old, you could be hundreds of years old, you could be millions of years old. And he said, these pods take you in, and you literally, do you know, like Avatar, where they put their
they link
thing into the animal.
Yeah. The tail, and they weave in, and they sort of cinch up.
You weave in and wire into these pod plimps, and they literally say, well, what do you want? Where do you want to go? What time space do you want to go to? What part of your soul do you want to revisit? It's like your own mobile Akashic records of yourself. It's incredible. So he reminded me of that, and I had been shown that a while ago. And interestingly, when I spoke to someone at one of the galactic seminars, he said to me, yeah, I've seen that. I said, have you? So he said, yeah, JP, his name was. And I went, okay. So I said, and I was just about to say, because on the date it was 1940. So I said, when I went in, there was a date. He said, was it 1940? I went, what? So he's ex-military, and he used to go to different planets, and it was all kept secret, but he's a whistleblower. And I said, how did you know it was 1940? And so he said, because I've been in the pods, and that's what it's stuck to. So I said, why is that? And this is incredible, because before this even happened, the angel realms had told me that in 1940, with everything that was going on with Hitler and the complete genocide and desecration of what was happening with our beautiful Jewish people, they said, whoa, hang on a minute, this free will's just gone a bit too far. This is not going how we should have it. Like, they're taking out thousands and thousands of people. It's not right. And so that's when they started the consciousness shift back then. And I must have done this video about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where they told me this is where we decided to start speeding up the disclosure, the truth of your planet, the truth of the people in it. All of the stuff that's coming up now is just literally been implemented since that time. Free will was getting too much. We had people like Hitler and others throughout history that are just wiping out races, and it's too much. So this is when they started implementing, and then we obviously had a bit of an overload in the 60s because it went too far of yeah man. Do you know what I mean?
And the so free love, like, the free love movement, the free love movement.
Free love of mushrooms. Amen. And so
what like, was it? Carrots? Sorry, carrots is murder. Sorry, we're back there.
We're back there again, exactly. So, in fact, they've never told me this. This has just literally come through about the 70s. There was a bit of a, because what happens is they bring in frequencies to help you open and become aware. So we've had the dragon frequency in, we've had the Atlantean energy in, which is currently in at the moment, this huge water shift for dealing with emotional stuff and self-reflection. And I'll talk about a bit more about that in a minute. And we've had the Christ consciousness come in for this benevolence, mercy, which is aided along with Archangel Zadkiel. So they're bringing in all these frequencies that are hitting those people that are meditating, becoming more mindful, being aware, so that they become more responsible for their own being. And they become more responsible for how they portray themselves and what they give out to the universe. So I don't know where that come from, but it's like we overdid it in the 60s, which I think is absolutely brilliant. And it makes sense because everybody was just off their tits, basically, and just procreating and just saying, we don't care about anything, anti-establishment. So it's like, I think we've like put a few frequencies in that are a bit too over the top. We need to like bring that back a bit. So this is being implemented to humankind since the 40s, since 1940. For us to start becoming more benevolent, kind, compassionate, calm, respectful of each other. And the problem is, because it's been quickened up now, this is why everything's turning into chaos, which again, I'll go into in a minute. So let's get back to the story. So I go into this huge area and he says, let me show you how we operate our craft. I was like, okay, so there's all these crafts, but they were like, again, do you know what? I need to get out more. I'm referring to a movie again.
I'm all for it.
Do you know
I'm
Predator?
all for it. We're gonna have to have a list of movies in the. I'll make the pin comment all about movies.
I know, never seen these movies. Like,
movies mentioned in this episode, starting with Notting Hill, then Disclosure, and we'll keep going. I'll just say Interstellar.
Do you know
I'll just mention it because it's one of my favorites. Now we have to put that in. Avatar was mentioned. Please, next.
Do you know what? Avatar, that is so channeled. That is the complete depiction of the spirit world and 3D humans and the state and the power and the elite and all the rest of it. That is so channeled because those avatar beings are literally representing the spiritual essence of this world. They're the 5Ders. And then you've got everybody coming in and smashing their rainforests and killing them all and creating, and that's the 3D powerful elite government, whatever you want to call it. That's the state. And it's so beautifully done because that's exactly what is represented. And the tree of life seriously, I just cry. And I had the absolute pleasure. I was like a child. I was with Darren and we'd done a seminar in Florida and then we decided to have a holiday afterwards. Avatar at Universal Studios. I know that obviously I don't want to get on the Disney thing and all that kind of thing, but that ride at Avatar, you walk into the whole of the world, Pandora, and everybody had the t-shirts, I see you, which is basically namaste. It's I see your soul, I see you. So I had to get that t-shirt. It was rude not to, but to walk in that, heaven. Anyway, so it's a bit like Avatar. In fact, this planet was like that. The energy of it was all alive. And so he showed me that their craft are run by, this is going to sound crazy, plasma and intent. These were created by frequencies of thought and mind and intention of where the craft needed to go and what they needed to do. And then then people have said, oh yeah, so-and-so said that. Another, speaker or influencer or whatever. Oh yeah, they mentioned that. A really well-known ones. Really? Yeah. I'm like, wow, okay. So he showed me how their craft work, and it's like, do you know Predator, where he's like semi-transparent? That's what they look like. And he said to me, you'll see a lot more of these. And so again, I said on my channel, we're going to be seeing a lot more of these semi-transparent crafts going through our ether, going through our atmosphere. Because again, they're drawing closer in. They are priming us because, again, I said, look, why don't you just get it over and done with? Why don't you just pop down, pop out your craft and go, hey, we're from wherever, you know? And they're like, can you imagine the people that are not open, that aren't aware, that aren't awake? They will go into a full-blooded frenzy because all they see is world domination, alien abduction, alien attack. It will just go to complete chaos. There will be like riots. Everybody be like, oh no, the aliens are here. He said, you're not ready for it. But we're dropping it in very gently with the aid of the good military. They're saying, yeah, you can do that. You've got airspace for that. You can do this. But it is there. It is. I've been seeing them since I was a child with my dad. My dad we were sitting in a pub once and this craft came down. It got in the local newspaper. Everybody was like, oh, like this. And we just sat there really calmly and it came really low. And we were surrounded by woodland in this pub. And he said, oh, you'll see loads of those. He goes, you'll most probably, by the time you pass up to the spirit world, he said, you'll be going up to Mars. They're already there. We've already got colonies there. And this was back in the 70s. My dad was, again, I come from that bloodline, don't I? Mary Magdalene, we're all seers, healers, mediums, psychics. And so he said, you'll know about Mars by the time you go up to the spirit world. And he's like, hey, buds, how you doing? And then it just whisked off and it hit the newspapers. Everybody was like, wow. And everybody was saying, oh, it's mass hysteria. The normal stuff they say. Oh, it was just something else, an air balloon or whatever. And he was so right with the disclosure. But they have to gently drip feed us, not people like me and you and all the other enlightened people that are awake and are open to it and are not going to panic if they see an alien being or a craft. It's the other ones, the sheeple that I call them, and that isn't disrespectful. It's the people that follow and do whatever the government and people tell them to do. They've got no sovereignty, they've got no process of their own, and they're perhaps younger souls, or they're just not open to remembering who they are and where they're from. And that's absolutely fine. So what we need to do, the needle is I was speaking with Archangel Gabriel a little while ago, and he was really, really happy. And Archangel Uriel, because Archangel Uriel is like the guardian of the planet, and he monitors everything that's going on the planet and liaises with other frequencies. At the moment, Gabriel, the messenger angel, he's got lots of different jobs, but one of them is to see what is happening with how we're receiving messages, how we're receiving enlightenment. And they were really happy because they showed the needle going up and up of people becoming more aware, more conscious, more sentient things around them. Like we're talking about the murderer carrots and plants, and thinking, I'm going to, have a voice. I'm going to sign petitions. I'm going to turn up for no more testing on animals. I'm going to have my voice. And the power of that voice, though, you're going to start again. I've said it. It's not news because I predicted this. I didn't. The angels predicted this a while ago. You're going to start getting so many more celebrities, which has already happened, being exposed as, I don't know, sex predators or whatever they're doing, because people are starting to get their voice. They're starting to own their throat chakra. They're starting to feel that sense of self-love and self-belief. And rather than hide in the shadows with all this stuff that's going on in plain sight, people are starting to speak out. So the sheeple see that as, oh God, the world is getting worse. Where does it all come to? There's war, there's fires everywhere. Spain and France are on fire, which I predicted that was going to happen.
More chaos.
Yeah, it's all chaos, but it's supposed to be. I think my friend Faye, who I've had on my videos a couple of times, that's where I'm staying at the moment while I wait for my new home. She's an astrologer, and I think, is it Pluto? Pluto and Saturn or something like that. There's certain alignment at the moment of the planets is creating that chaos in communities and chaos all around us. And I please let me know, anybody watching this, are you just literally feeling like the Mercury retrograde obviously stops and delays everything, doesn't it? But this is like 100 million-fold Mercury retrograde that's not disappearing. Nearly everybody I speak to, either one, they're like, why am I seeing like my nan from the spirit world and I've just seen an angel in my room, and they're panicking. I'm like, don't panic, you're waking up. And the other one is, why is everything just going to shit? Why is nothing working? Why is everything frustrating? Why am I hearing people rowing in the streets and this happening and that happening? The fires, the earthquakes. And I'm like, it's all the shift. We cannot change this planet without change.
Hey there, Inspired Souls. I wanted to take a moment and thank all of you that are subscribed to this podcast. Everything you see around here, like I like to say, touch wood, is powered and empowered by your subscription to this podcast. It costs you nothing. It's completely free. There's a button down below. It lights up in the colors of the Inspired Evolution when I say the word subscribe. And if you can hit that button, hit that bell notification icon, it's completely free. It gives you the opportunity to support the channel so guests like this can come on and share their insights, share their wisdom. Every week, we do 2 episodes a week. And once a month, we actually gather with the guests inside the Inspired Evolution Community Circle. Here, if you start to fall in love with the content, just know that's the space for connection around the content. It's the Inspired Evolution Community Circle. We affectionately call it the Circle. The center's empty. It's not about Amrit. I'm just one of us. And once a month, we get together and we run kind of like a podcast where you guys ask the questions of the guests when they come on. We also gather once a week. I guide meditations. There's community sharing circles. If there's astrological updates, there's breath work, there's a bit of yoga, there's all sorts of cool stuff happening inside there, and lots of people meeting people in person as well. We've done our best to make several live, interactive, connection oriented, so it's less there is text-based connection, absolutely, but it's this opportunity to really connect, especially as we move into this Aquarian age. Yeah, we're going to need Aquarius rules community. We're going to need more community. It's about the I and the we. Pisces had the fish schools of thought. This is all shifting under our feet right now. So as we're looking for tribe and connection, Inspired Evolution Community Circle, come on in, give it a whirl, and just see if it's for you. And it really supports the channel as well. So thank you so much for all of you that are part of the community and supporting the channel and this work, doing the things that it's doing in the world. Really, really, really sincerely appreciate you all. And we'd love to welcome those of you that are inspired to evolve on the inside. And I'm mentioning that as well because today's episode goes super deep, and it's conversations like this that we're having inside the circle amongst a community of peers. So if that sounds inspiring to you, do check us out, inspiredevolution.com/circle.
It's like a thorn stuck in your side. When it pulls out, it's going to really hurt. It's going to really hurt, and possibly it could fester and get infected, but eventually it will heal and clear. And this is what's happening now. But so you have to look at it. Every time I see something, it breaks my heart. I send prayers to whatever catastrophe is taking place, whatever disaster is taking place. That's a given. I do that every single day of my life, up to 10, 15 times a day on whatever it is that, I'm aware of. Because you feel it. It's like a personal thing. You feel it. And I've been watching the fires in Spain and I'm feeling it. And it's just horrific. But also, I'm sending courage and love to all the beautiful firefighters and the volunteers, and you've got to find the beauty in everything. And the bigger picture is, this is a shift. Don't ask me how or why fires are a shift, but it's a wake-up call. Sorry, there's my little Myla. She always likes to get in. I can't say hello to everybody, Myla.
Hello,
I love you too. And so we look at all of this around us and we have to look at, it's a shift. It's great. I send love. I send calm. I send prayers to those that are suffering. Those people that have been lost in earthquakes or, they've lost their lives in wars, they signed up for that contract to help wake us up. So how is it waking us up? It's showing us that the weather, the conditions, the disasters, the underbelly of what's being exposed to do with governments, leaders, sex trafficking, and all the rest of it, it's all being exposed so that we can look and see the reality of our planet and then know a way how to fix it. When you've got an ailment or an illness and you don't know what it is, you have to sit there and think, well, I'll try everything I can. But if someone gives you a label, which I don't really like, but it's the only analogy that they've given me at the moment, and you think, right, okay, I've got that. Now I know how to heal it. This is what I'm going to work towards, right? And so this is what the planet's doing. It's saying you've hurt us for so long. You've hurt our planet. You've abused it. You haven't looked after it. You haven't looked after the place you're just renting for a tiny microscopic moment in your whole eternal life system. And you're not looking after it. So this is why Gaia is kicking back, because you're not looking after it. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. And it's a bit little too late, you know. And I have to say, I've said this recently as well, that 2032, I can't remember, my crown chakra's going, oh, 2032 was going to be the end, because we were going on a trajectory of complete, I don't even know the words to describe it, complete disrespect and abuse of our planet, and it wasn't being sustained, it wasn't being fed, it wasn't being nurtured, and it was just going to either implode, go into desert. It looked like desert form to me, and the sun was just going to go, do you know what, that's it, we're decimating the planet, and all of the higher conscious people were going to be taken to other planets because they could cope with that. They could cope with the telepathy, because it was all telepathy on that place I went to. It was just, oh, I so want to live there. Oh, I so want to live there. It was all acknowledging people without even talking. They could talk, but also they were reading each other's souls, downloading what information was available, like you do in the spirit world. And some of them did use their mouths, others were using telepathy, which is going to happen to us. This is why you're going to start knowing what people are feeling and saying before they even open their mouth. People are going to be more telepathic. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's already started. And so this is Gaia, and this is exactly what Earthwalkers, and Earthwalkers 2 is out this year, thank goodness, because there's been a delay because of Darren going home and passing, and I've had to get myself straight. And finally it'll be out this year. But again, this was all in there. And do you know what, darling? I think we've said this before, babes, but when I wrote Earthwalkers, I thought it's going to have to be put as fantasy, because this is not going to happen. And it's exactly the same as Earthwalkers 2. Earthwalkers 2, I'm rereading it. It's got to go to the editor in 2 weeks, right? I'm rereading it and I'm thinking, this has all happened. Every single thing in that book that I wrote 12 years ago has happened.
Has transpired.
Right? Yeah. The only thing that hasn't happened yet is there's a huge downfall with the UN that is so corrupt in there as well, apparently. So the UN, temple structures, places of worship, massive disclosure coming up around that. The decimation. So I said, why is that happening? Decimation of worship houses and temples and structures. And they said, because we need people to own more of their sovereignty and not follow those that speak untruths. So I'm like, okay, can you just talk to it in Nicky language? And they said there's a lot of people out there that give away their power to people that are speaking in religious context, spiritual context, whatever, and they're not actually owning it themselves. They're handing their power over and taking on board what someone's saying, rather than owning it, discerning what they want to take from it, but still lead their own life spiritually. So we're trying to show them to stop giving themselves to rules and regulations held with religion, and to take it within themselves and be their own temple, their own God, their own universe, their own mechanism of how they interact in the cosmos and the universe. And so I'm like, right, okay. So, but that has started. There has been a lot of various spiritual leaders that have been called out, which I've been told about. The Vatican, various huge religious bodies. There'll be continual exposures on what's gone on there, without doubt. And
but
so
you said something about 2032 has shifted. You said, sorry.
Sorry, yes. So
please trace us back.
I do digress. Thank God you're here, because otherwise
Of course I'm here. Sorry.
Like some people say to me, stay focused. But I've got literally the whole of the universal energy, angel realm, spirit guides, saints, ascended masters. Everybody's in my mind and my energy, and I have to try and stay on point. I'm entering into a huge, massive ball of energy, and I've got to try and stay on point, and it's so hard. So well done, darling.
You're doing amazing. I just want to, because I do want to ask about all sorts of angels today, so we'll get there eventually.
So basically,
but 2032,
he said the decimation of the planet. So he said, so either Mother Gaia and Ariel will come to an agreement where there'll either be a massive flood, they'll let a meteorite come in and just smash it to pieces, or they will just drought it out. They will remove all the water and just let the sun burn it dry, or someone will push the button. I'm like, wow, okay. And I just saw everywhere dry desert, a bit like Mad Max. Hey, another movie. Right, it was just like that. It was just dry, desolate, and there were a few survivors, most probably the elite that have got their bunkers, and that's about it. And I'm like, oh, wow, hang on a minute. So I'm not going to tell humans that. So I said, I'll only tell them that when I know that we've gone past that stage. It's not going to happen. So now I know that we've passed. We're getting there. So there's a tiny turnaround to us thinking, hang on a minute, we need to do something here. The weather manipulation, again, the sun dimming, all this kind of stuff's coming out because they have been manipulating it and they need to sort that out. There are people running. It's almost like the Truman Show. Hey, another movie where, and there is a point there. Directors are channeling information, I'm telling you, where it's like this domed effect and they think they can just deal with it. They can play the game and let us do what we want to do. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not thinking that everything's bad and controlled. But from what I see and what they bring me and what's proven after I've said it, pick the bones out of that because it's always true, everything I say. It comes out that, whatever I predict comes out and it's true. And so that is no longer the landmark time. It's like 2032 is make or break. But as I say, that dial that Uriel and Gabriel showed me, it's like, so the whole essence of why we are having this consciousness raised, why we're starting to feel and have more love and compassion and benevolence is because that's going to turn around the treatment of each other, treatment of the planet, treatment of animals, treatment of everything. And what we're doing is we're creating, and I've said this to you last time, we're creating that energy to nurture the new leaders. So all the people that are awake now that are having children and then their children, like your beautiful children, they'll be more conscientious. They won't be 3D. They won't be, obviously there's going to be 3D materialistic people. There's got to be yin and yang, but predominantly the ones that see and feel and have a moral compass and a spiritual compass will be the ones that will be in power. They will be the ones, well, not even power, they'll be the ones negotiating the planet, negotiating the trajectory of it and what happens in it. Not for gain, not for money, not for power or tyranny. They're in it because they know the planet and everybody on it is important. And that's where we're going towards. That is the utopia we're going towards. We won't see it, which is a bit of a bummer. I've asked, look, I'm here for the shift, like all of us have done, like you've done as well. But can you please let me come back when it's all beautiful and lovely, like the other planet? So it's not going to be quite like that planet you went to. It's not going to be quite like that. There's still that human interaction because we're basically one of the biggest learning planets in the whole of the trajectory of the universe. We are the one that everybody wants to come down to have a hard knock life experience. So there's still going to be an element of human ego there, but not as bad as it's been. And as I say, the beginning that kicked it off was the 1940s with Hitler.
Nicky, why is this such a special place? I mean, we all look around, and the fact that, I mean, we're going to sound like the Avatar guys, but, the fact that you can walk out and there's just stuff growing on trees that you can just pick off the tree and just eat, and that it's just, there for you. Yep. I mean, obviously, that's I mean, Einstein said it, right? Like, it's either you can walk around as if nothing's a miracle, or you can walk around as if, like, the whole damn I don't say
Everything
damn, pardon me,
is.
but the whole thing is, a blessed miracle. Pardon me, that was blasphemous. But the whole thing is a miracle. But, so there's obviously that layer, but then when I tune into, like, your content, it seems like it's more than just our relationship with our planet that is sacred and beautiful and wonderful, but it seems like there are many other things beyond the average person's awareness that is also invested and interested in this particular place. What's going on? What is it about Earth?
We are the planet of growth, they've told me. We come here to grow our soul, so we come down for experiences. And what people see as a punishment, why did that person die? Why did this happen to me? Why did that happen to me? When they're told, well, it's part of your soul journey. I didn't choose that. How dare you say I chose that? I didn't choose to be abused. I didn't choose this. So they're seeing it as a human, one life, beginning, middle, death, done. What they're not seeing is that they could be hundreds of thousands of years old. This place, I saw the beginning of this planet being created, right? And I used to say, don't say it, but it's in Earthwalkers too. They showed me how this was created. Star celestial energy. There was this singing vibration. Sound has always been the beginning of life. It's that simple. And now it's saving lives. So the seraphim, I heard them. Who's that? That's the seraphim. They're dawning the planet with Gaia and Ariel. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to tell anybody this because they're going to think I'm nuts, right? And so then they sang, and the sound, colour, air, all of the different elements were implemented to create sentient life. And so then what I saw was things growing. And then she said to me, absolutely, and this is Ariel mixed with the energy of Gaia, absolutely everything that we're going to place on this planet will cover every ailment you will have because you have to walk in its atmosphere. Everything is provided for you, right? So back then, when we were Anunnaki and we used to live for hundreds of years old, because we didn't have any pollutions, we didn't have any ego, we were placed with souls and consciousness way after the Neanderthal times. So we'd gone through the normal creature behaviours, and then there was this idea to place consciousness and souls in these basic beings. So I saw that happen as well, which again has been backed up by hundreds of other philosophers and people like that. And so I'm like, right, why did you do that? And they said, because we did want it as a development planet. It's a planet of containment. It's like a larder. Do you know larder over there? It's like it literally we hold everything on here that everybody needs, whether it's plants, crystals. It's like a storage planet of growth that lots of people could come and get whatever they want and take it back to their planet and then grow it or whatever. It's a growth planet. But then the concept was, well, let's grow consciousness here. And so it went a bit wrong. This is all Earthwalkers. This is all what I wrote, laying in bed after a road accident. It's crazy. It even makes me surprised now I've done it, because literally they put the consciousness in and they watch and they see. And then they suddenly start noticing that people suddenly want to own something, that this is my land, this is my electricity, this is my air, this is my plant that I can change into a massive pharmaceutical thing that I'll charge you for. And so they've started watching everybody trying to own everything that was originally free. Everything on this planet was given for us to just thrive in. And human ego over the years has completely mucked it all up. And so because they had this, there's like this law of the universe that they can't interfere with free will. And so they had to kind of stand back and watch almost this experiment. If that's, it's perhaps quite a crude way of describing it. And then they've got, as I say, they've got to the 1940, all those millions, thousands of years of watching evolution. And then they've gone, oh, do you know what? This is just going to get worse and worse. They're just, everything we've given them, they've abused. They've tried to own control, manipulate. It's going wrong. And like, you look at the likes of Tesla being taken out. I don't care what people say. You just look at these people that have integrated free energy and everything they've done, and suddenly they die mysteriously. Come on now, And so I love it because the shift is taking place, and it's not a happy ever after. I'm not doing a fairy tale. I'm the most realist person that can sit in front of a camera. I don't do any BS. I literally tell you what I see from them. I don't read. I don't watch anybody else. I don't learn anything. I just get it from them, and it happens every time that they know what they're talking about. It always comes true. They are basically stripping away the control, the manipulation, because they were going to, this is another thing they told me, they were going to start charging for air.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can that happen? How can that happen? So it's quite easy.
That sounds ridiculous when you think about the concept of bottled water. Like I'm watching some interesting news in Pakistan and stuff. Like they're blocking off rivers and making people that was previously their own natural water source. They're having to buy water, and it was like when you think about it, that was already their water, and then now they're having to buy bottled water.
Wow.
And I mean, that sounds ridiculous when you say buying air, but then buying water is actually a bit of a ridiculous concept too. And
of course it is. But they've put so much filth in the natural water supply with the fluoride and everything else that everybody I know that's away doesn't even touch a tap. And I don't. And do you know what?
It's called tap juice, isn't it? Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah. And literally, again, the angel realms would not stop every time I did a channeling, whatever you want to call it. They would bring up the water, stop drinking the water, stop drinking the water. And now, have this, it's safe. It's still in plastics, it's still microplastics, but I've got all of the osmosis systems, all the rest of it in mine. But so I said, how are they going to do it? And they said it's quite easy. They'll create a propaganda or an issue that something has come. This is what they said, but they've said, no, we've shelved that for the time being. This is all going on in the background. So what they were going to do is they were going to say that there was something omitting from the earth that was creating poisonous gases, and would start creating, because all the sheep would go, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then they were going to create like domed cities, if you like, domed areas where you could, and first of all, it would be come in for this oxygen chamber, come in for this like proper air, because obviously you've been exposed to it outside. And they were just going to gently nurture them into, this is what you pay for. This is the air that you need to breathe to be able to put up with what's coming out of the planet because of all these noxious gases. I'm like, wow. But people would swallow it. If the government said now, don't go out of your houses, there's an apocalypse, there's loads of zombies walking around, you wouldn't go out. But what's happening is the people that are awake go, hang on a minute, let's just go and check if there are any zombies out there. Obviously take a knife or an axe just in case. Walking Dead, ding, next one. So, these people going, hang on a minute. I don't know about that. Let's go and have a look. Or, noxious gases. Do you know what? I'm actually going to pop my head out and see if there are any noxious gases. People are starting to question it because they've got this higher state of consciousness. It says, really? I'm not feeling that. And the stronger we get within and the more we use our intuition, we can start going, no, you're all right. So we've got people with a voice that have been subject of any horror that has happened, by the state or whatever you want to call it, celebrities, all the rest of it. And then you got the others that will start questioning and saying, I'm not having it anymore. That's not true. And so that's where we're going. The problem with that is that they've kept us slammed down for so long that for us to start raising our head above the parapet, they're going to try and shoot it down. So this is where the chaos is coming in. And the chaos of the energy of us taking on that darkness is going to reverberate through all our lives. So what we've got to remember is that we are responsible. Every single one of us are responsible for the energy of the planet. So if we feed out hate, negativity and nastiness, that's what we're feeding out that will then go on to the next, because we all connect as one. So we've got to be really, really careful of what we give out to the universe and what we give out to our planet and to others. So we've got to give out that strength, love, need for truth, standing by our self-belief systems, our sovereignty. Because if we enter into this crap like the sheep will do, all we're going to do is sit there. And that is why there is so much chaos in our lives going on. Illness, saying goodbye to people, people passing up, and things not working how they should, setbacks, self-reflection. Oh, Zadkiel and Chamuel came in the last couple of sessions I did. I have this at my karma shop. I love them. I love them. Some of our villagers have made these crystal masks, and they enhance the third eye. They've got lots of beauty value, actually. Crystals that are off the charts at the moment on their vibration. And so put that on, within a second I'm up with the angels. It's insane. And that is what happened. The first time I used that crystal quartz mask is when I went to the Stargate. That's what took me there. It just enhances everything. So I had this on. I forgot what I was talking about now. See, this is a problem with the cosmos in my head.
Well, you were talking about the chaos that we're navigating at this time,
Yes.
angels, Zadkiel, and is it Ka? Started with
Yes,
a K.
Chamuel. So Chamuel is self-love, self-belief, and reflection, and what you want in life, and what feeds you and what doesn't. And Zadkiel is about mercy, self-forgiveness, forgiving others. Right.
And
So
these are
those
things that
two
we
have
need
been,
to work on at this
yes,
particular moment in time.
and if you don't want to work on it, you haven't got a choice. Right? So there will
You
be
also have a
chaos in
distaste
your
for the
home.
word work as well, because I often tune into this about
Yeah.
your work. Sorry, I just said you'd have a distaste for the word, and I just used
did
the word work. But sorry, I'm going to find a better way there. But you also mentioned that like the word work implies like it's going to require something of you, but also you say this is happening. This is happening. Like we're all on the ship. No one gets left behind, really.
Absolutely. So you've got to embrace it. So what's happening now is, and it's worked. This mica that again, it's from I'm a rubbish businesswoman, darling. I nick everything from my shop. So this is mica, which I've never heard of. I don't know if you can see. It has self-reflective qualities in it, right? So as soon as I put that on, this has kicked off this connection with Chamuel and Zadkiel along with this mask, right? And so they're saying, this is what's happening on the planet now. I'm like, okay, what's happening? The Atlantean energy is coming in, which is water. So this is to do with emotion and self-love. It's all emotion-based. And they said, what we're needing people to do now is seek their truths and realise whether they're happy, self-reflection on themselves, how they behave, who they are, who they're with. So you're going to see, and again, let us know in the comments how many people are reviewing their relationships, their friendships, breakups. They're suddenly feeling a need, which some people would put down to, 60-year itch or midlife crisis or 7-year itch in a marriage. But it's actually your acknowledgement of what space do I find myself in that I could be my very best in? Not this, because I can't stand my husband. I can't stand my best friend. I don't like this house. I don't like my energy. I don't like my job. I've got, problems from my past. I'm still dealing with trauma from childhood. And you will be, if you are open to this, the sheeple might get away with it. They can carry on scrolling through TikTok. But the others will be, wow, hang on a minute. Why do I feel a sudden need to move away? Disappear off and eat, love and pray for a year? Why do I feel the need that I've got to leave my wife, my husband? Why do I feel like I need to start this journey and get rid of this job? It is huge at the moment and people are fearing it like no other. Don't fear it. Go with it. I am the example. I am the guinea pig for every single trauma and loss you can imagine. Look at what I've been through. And I'm still standing and I'm still brilliant. And I've just manifested a beach house and I'm waiting to move in. And so basically, I am the proof of it. I'm nobody special. I'm just listened to them and given them my whole surrender and said, right, show me. And they did. And they said, right, if you do this, if you think this, if you create this, if you work on it, not work, if you nurture this, you can have the best life you can, and you will deal with the knocks easier. You will deal with them easier, and you do. There's absolutely no doubt. I remember when I did the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival, I think it was 4 months after Darren went home. You could say I was still in denial. You could say I was in a bit of shock. But I chose to do something in his memory and do something of the greater good rather than sit curled around a bottle of wine thinking, why has this happened to me? And believe me, I'm still in massive grief. It's 2 years soon, and I'm not looking forward to the anniversary. But that's a human thing. But I've got tools to assist that. The friendships, the mindfulness, walking by the ocean, crystal work, breath work, meditation. I've got all of the tools. So I think, okay, this is really crap. I don't like the fact that he's been dead for 2 years now, but how am I going to cope with that? So I just come up with the spiritual strategic plan of how I'm going to go through that day of the anniversary of his horrific, tragic death right in front of me. And so what I see in people is they can sometimes, and it's not their fault, believe me, I've been there. Oh my goodness, have I been there? Where you can label, I had this happen to me, this happened to me, they did that to me. And so don't shoot the messenger. Right, the messenger, and they brought this up yesterday, and they said, because they keep telling me to do short messages to humans. I'm like, okay. And yesterday, and I never got round to it because I was too tired, and I was resting for today because I have ME and fibromyalgia. But it's not my label. It just gets on my nerves now and then. But I go through that. But don't let the label overtake who you are and what you're doing. So you need to take whatever has happened to you as for you. So when I say don't shoot the messenger, he said this to me, they said this to me, the doctor told me this, my husband told me that, my best friend said this about me. Honour the message and think, right, okay, thank you for giving me that reality. What do I do with that now? Not victim mode. Okay, so what energy was behind you saying that to me? Wasn't really respectful of me in my sovereignty. It's not about arrogance. It's about owning your boundaries, owning your own purity and thinking, actually, that was very invasive and that really wasn't right. So thank you, messenger, for showing me your true self. Off you pop. Can you see? So whatever gets thrown at you, the universe is doing it for you. And I used to really, oh my God, did I used to get pissed off when I heard that. Oh, the universe is working for you. Come by art. And I'm like, oh, is it? I'm homeless. I've got nothing. I've lost everything. Don't be stupid. The universe is working for me. But it did, because then it created me having this rebirth and finding myself now in a space, no matter what hits me, I cope with it. Yes, I can go downhill for a couple of days. Yes, I can get the Yes, I can get angry. But I know the tools. I know the way to get out of it.
To bounce
Any
back.
obstacle that comes, I'm like, okay, rather than own it and let it fester like a cancer,
Touch wood.
what am I going to do with that? And I just put it out there into this ethereal space, if you want, and I look at it and I think, okay, how am I going to cope with this? What is going to help me get through this emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally? Right, that's the way forward. Rather than sit in the drama of it and go down a rabbit hole and go down that bottle of wine or those packets of cigarettes or whatever behaviour some people choose. And I get it, and I'm not judging it. I've been there and I've done it 100 times. My book, Me, Myself and I, just read that. I have literally had every demon going within me because of my abuse as a child. I've had the worst possible life ever. But do I own that title? Do I own what those messengers sent me? No. Do I sit in what they've done to me? Look at Darren's family. You know the story. Do I sit in that? Do I perpetually hate them? No, because you know what? Karma has its own rules for every soul on the planet. And what you give out is what you get back. And again, I'm sure we mentioned this last time, darling, where Julianus, my main guide, said to me, karma is never going to be so swift. He said, everything is thin. Everything is coming quick. We need to, otherwise we're going to lose this planet. At the moment, we're going over to not the end of the planet in 2032. We're winning, but we need to keep pushing. We need to keep pushing. And so he said, karma is so quick. So, for instance, I don't know, perhaps if you dropped some litter on the floor, or you went home and then someone's dumped a load of crap in your yard, it's just every consequence of your thought and action will be returned 100-fold. And that used to be quite hard to work out and do, but the ether is like slick. And I've noticed anything I think, it creates, it manifests, and negative or positively. So be careful of your thoughts, be careful of your intentions. And anybody, that messenger, whether they've shot you through the heart or given you the best news of the day, honour it and send it back, leave it with them. And that's why, like labradorite, all crystals that reflect your energy, you need to have them on you and around you. I'm looking now, and I'm not joking, it's like a crystal emporium in this room. This is the room in Faye's house, but I've got all my crystals everywhere. Everywhere I look, there's crystals. And sitting in that, even, do you know what, darling? Even just sitting here, right? The worst thing could be happening, right, to me, or someone's done something, or whatever it is. And there is an inherent feeling of safety and protection because I just look at my crystals, I look within and see this army of angels, ascended masters. No matter what happens, I visualize the army, my loved ones in the spirit world, as I say, my guides, the angel realms, some alien beings that have started coming up since that visit from wherever I went. And I just think, I've got this. Nobody can beat an ethereal army. Nobody can. It's all based on the earth. It's all ego. It's all 3D level of whatever it is. And we are beyond that in every way, shape, form and dimension.
Hey there, Inspired Souls. Today's conversation's been an absolute, oh my God, so grateful. Now, if you want support in reading your own chart, understand yourself better through the lens of astrology, or even have a look at what's coming up at this time for you, or both, you can book in a reading with myself, amritsandhu.com/reading, amritsandhu.com/reading. Touch wood, it'd be my absolute honor and pleasure to support you with that awareness at this time, if you feel the call. You've also said that angels are physically manifesting now.
Yes.
In ways that they weren't even a year ago.
Yes.
Even then they were already more active than they've ever been.
Absolutely, 100%.
What's actually happening to the veil right now? I mean, can you explain that? Because you've even had some trippy things. Like you've seen in your videos, angels are opening and closing doors on camera. It's trippy shit. Like it's, sorry.
I kid you not. I'm looking at them now, right? They are literally two solid handles on a PVC unit, right? And you have to physically push them down and then open one to open the other because it interlocked. So there's no way on this planet that can be opened. And you literally, on the video, you hear it go zoom for that handle. Zoom, you can hear it. And then you hear, and I'm like, hang on a minute, I need to have a sneaky peek because I had that mask on. And this used to be spirit people, easy, used to it. I've seen it since I was a kid. They'll move something, they'll bang something, they'll knock something, you'll see lights and goodness. And I know that's spirit. But this was Archangel Zadkiel because, as I said, I think it was something like I open the doors to you, or, I'm an open the doors to me or something like that. That's when he opens the doors. And then it's just something simple like the synchronicity it's not, you don't have to even look for it. I was taking Myla, obviously Darren died, so did my two dogs, right? And Teddy was diagnosed with cancer the same week as my little Mia died. And I watched this tumour grow. I refused to have any treatment. He was 16 and it was just too much.
Sorry.
And so she suddenly developed a couple of lumps. And I'm like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, the chaos that we're all going through at the moment, right? And me. So I'm like, for goodness sake. So I got in the car and I said, Archangel Ariel, please, can you just let me know that these are okay? They're just cysts. I can't handle anything else. You need to show me really quickly that you're here, please, and telling me that it's all okay. I cannot take any more drama. And I talked to her like that, just like she's my mate. So I said, firstly, can you make sure there's space for me? And so I got to the vets, 'cause it's quite a busy vets, 'cause I live in a different location here. It's very different to where I am. And literally a car pulls out with AA in the Archangel Aerial in the number plate, which was the only space left right outside the front door. So I get in the front door, then go. She's had to have a load of tests done, needles, bless her. And the bill come to 33311, which are my numbers, 11, 22 and 333. I thought, that's weird. And I said, that's good. That's okay. I said, but just one more thing, please. And so I walked out of the vets, and the second house on the right, I've never been in this area, because I'm new here. And someone just said, look up. And I looked up, and the house had angels. The house was called Angels. I did a short on it, and I'm like, wow, okay, thank you. And then I walked along, and there was a for sale sign, which was 8888, which is Darren's numbers, 222. And I'm like, yep, all right, I've got it. And I go back to my car, and there's a feather stuck on the side of the door. I'm like, yep, okay, thank you. And they just throw it at you. And other days I don't get anything. So it's not like I'm looking out for it and thinking, oh, that's an angel sign. It is in your face. And when I laughed when she gave me the bill. I said, God, I hope the insurance will cover this. And so I laughed. She goes, I know it's really expensive, isn't it? I went, no, I'm laughing because they're angel numbers. It's absolutely fine. There's nothing going to be wrong with those. She went, okay. Oh, I've just gone deaf. They're here. They've started shutting off my ear systems as well when they come down, which is a new thing. And this is really important for people as well. Noticed this about a year ago, is that I always used to work from the right, because obviously this is the imagination, creation. It is like the freedom and the part of the brain that's la, which I call it, right? And then this is logic, analytic, grounding you, so it stops you and blocks you from seeing spirit things if you're looking at something. So don't ever look at them, because the left brain goes, no, it's analysing, dropping everything. But in the last year, this has started being activated, so that they're balancing our brain to be even more open to the phenomena and to the consciousness they're bringing. And so they keep making my left ear deaf. And anybody that knows me from the last 35 years, I've always listened, heard, looked, sensed everything to the right. And then this started happening, and thousands of people have said same thing. Like, my followers and people that I work with have gone, what do you know what's going on with our left brain? Yeah, I said, they're literally balancing our hemispheres, because there's something going on with it. And they're readjusting the kundalini, they're readjusting the pineal gland, they're making us aware of what's calcifying the pineal gland. It's so that we can be that ultimate frequency and antennae for the rest of our brothers, sisters, cousins, and the whole of the universe. And it's just absolutely insane and incredible. And do you know what? People that come across this that are sheeple or 3D will be like, oh, wow, okay, then she's got a really good imagination. But I love it when I say things now. I always used to worry that I'd get judged. I really don't care now. And you say something, and then it comes out in the nose. Do you know what I mean? Like the structures under the pyramids and things like that. And people go, and the amount of hate and
you
rudeness
get initially, and then after the fact, it's sorry,
yeah.
I wanted to ask about that actually, because you talked about how Dreamwalker and how like so much of it has Earthwalkers, and how much of that has come through, come true, and then Earthwalkers 2.0. I mean, what like, can you tell us? Obviously, don't give away the
It's
whole
very
book.
dark.
But can you tell us a little bit about what you see, like, in the book? Because that
I don't
can
want to
paint a
do
picture
too many
for.
spoilers, because
Yeah,
obviously
but
it was written 12 years ago,
give us
and
something.
I'm going back over
Touch
the
it.
chapters, right? I'm
Yeah.
going back. I was in bed, like
But
how I wrote it.
2.0,
I
because
didn't
2.0
know.
is coming out this year for a future that's
Yes.
ahead, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's some of it that's come out, but also don't forget it's covering from when Earthwalkers ended, it's covering the time from there. So the biggest thing that hit the planet, no guesses for what that is actually in this book. So it predicts it. Well, whoever predicted it, whoever made me write it, I've not too many spoilers, but COVID. And the actual spiritual reason for that, the actual reason and how that all took place and why. That's all in Earthwalkers 2. And it's the light and the dark and the chaos and the disasters that are happening now, which I wrote 12 years ago, are all in that book. So it's waking us up, because the whole point of Earthwalkers, the whole point of all the books that they've made me write, and I say made, I literally sat there. How I wrote it when I was catatonic and so poorly after my road accident, I don't even know. It was like I was writing like bionic. It was coming out like a robot. And everything in there, as I say, has come true already. So this covers now. And when I was reading the chapters thinking, what? And then I read the next chapter, I'm like, that happened then, this happened then. And I'm like, this is insane. And it's Lucifer. I don't want to say too much, but the Lucifer energy is free and it is creating havoc. And it is the biggest war of light and dark. And it's exactly what's happening on the planet now. And so you get the spiritual concept of it, and then the fallout of how it affects humans, and that's exactly what's in it. And I think everybody's just going to think, well, she's written it because of what's happening in the world. I haven't. People have got to remember this was written 12 years ago. And back then I thought, there's no way I'm putting this out. People are going to think I'm mental. It's so far-fetched. Forcing people to stay in their homes. So far-fetched. There's no way that's ever going to happen. And it was written then, and it's the breakdown, it's the disclosure of the UN, it's a disclosure of how things are being run. There's so much in it, but I don't want to spoil it too much because everything is pivotal. It's called Earthwalkers 2, The Dark Army, and it literally is how the darkness has tried to permeate, and we've gone, hang on a minute, I know you're here now, let's sort you out. So this is what's happening. It is complete chaos. It's full of wars, deaths. It's really dark, but it's a reality. And I absolutely adore it. I'm so proud of it. But again, I can't claim to write it. I know that I was helped by Spirit Lady Elizabeth Bowen, because I asked my guides in a trance session. I got my friends. I said, someone's helping me write this because I'm coming up with words and stuff that I don't even know what they mean. So I can't profess to be writing this properly. And so I was in a trance session and I came out. I said, what happened? Because I was taken right off. I wasn't even aware what was going on. And they went, oh my God, Julianus was here. He said that someone called Elizabeth Bowen's helping you write your book. And I'm like, really? She said, yeah. I said, right, straight on Google. And she was a supernatural Victorian writer, very famous author. Back in the Victorian times, who did supernatural phenomena. And so I could feel her energy. And I went through a stage of loving Victorian things, Victorian jewellery, and I didn't know why. Obviously her influence. So she is getting obviously information from the angel realms or wherever, source, whatever you want to call it, and then saying, write this. So what I do is I don't sit and just think, right, what sentences? I just sit and wait. And I'm literally writing what I'm seeing written up in my head. And on a serious note, if we go back to certain movies, this is where I feel it's channeled. Look at some of the movies we've seen and watched, and things that, for like even Star Trek, something as simple as Star Trek. You know, the Motorola phones, everything. If you go back in history, a lot of things that people think, wow, that was amazing, are actually everyday run-of-the-mill things nowadays. You know, it's all channeled without a doubt. And disclosure, I haven't even seen it. Have you seen it?
No, but I've heard plenty of commentary on it. I'm not sure why I haven't seen it yet. I have been meaning to.
Nor me.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's because I've been too knackered. Sitting up in a cinema being uncomfortable because like back pain or whatever. But some people are saying that the greys are being looked at as being sympathised with or something like that. I don't like all of this arguments and disrespect and all of the stuff that I sometimes get exposed to when I'm just putting things on, of people saying what's wrong and right about the alien worlds and about the people that talk about it. And to me, it's a movie. To me, yes, it's been brought out a specific time, that there's a lot of disclosure that's being forced to come out because of obviously people are now pushing in this new day we find ourselves in. Hang on a minute, you've got secret files. We want to see them. We've got a right to it. And this is what's going to continually happen. This is what's going to continually happen. And it's like even something simple like over in America, I don't know if you ever followed it, the Ridgeland's farm thing with the beagles. Oh, the voice of the humankind, the dexterity, the temerity, the permanent year after year, this is wrong, this is wrong. They've closed it down. We have closed down a massive corporation through pushing and funding and petitioning. And even though I wasn't there, I tried everything I could to get involved. And now we've got the one MBR Acres in the UK, and they're everywhere. Close it down, closing it down. And that's what we're doing. And it's exactly the same for this. It's just, we're not putting up with it anymore. Are we? We're not putting up with it anymore. And so he's timed that really well, Spielberg, on putting that out. But I can't comment because I haven't watched it yet. And I will have a view on it, no doubt. See, the thing is, I don't listen to anything anybody's. All I know is I've seen shorts of people said, oh, it's out of order how the Greys were sympathised with and blah, 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 blah. There is no doubt that we have had alien species down here. We've robbed them of their craft. We've cut them open. And I think that's disgusting. But I don't know what species they were. And some people say all Greys are bad, all they're draconians or reptilians. Isn't there good and bad in everything? I don't know, because I don't know until they show me. What do you think on all that?
Well, I'm looking forward to watching the movie for sure. That much I can clearly say. The one bit that I've tuned into is the thing that people found really interesting is that it's actually up to the aliens as to how disclosure is going for us, right? So it's actually up to them to sort of dictate how much information we're titrated, which is interesting because at this moment in time, I mean, I wanted to ask you about the eclipse that's coming up as well. It seems like, this is the eclipse season is a lot of it's happening in Leo. And I know you tune in with Gabrielle at every eclipse as well. I'm not sure if you've done that check-in for this year. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the responsibility of power, personal power, other people influencing us coming up with our own thing. Like, as you said, self-awareness is this really incredible thing at the moment. But I imagine even bringing yourself to your self-awareness contains a certain amount of agency. And then from there, why is that so important? Like, can I ask you about the eclipse? Yeah, can you tell me a little bit around these eclipses?
Yeah, they brought it up. They've brought it up about 3 times now. And obviously I haven't taken it on board enough, because when I haven't taken it on board enough or felt into it enough, or obviously, relayed what they need to tell humans, they keep bringing it back. So they've brought it back about 3 or 4 times now. And so they've said, Gabriel said that it's a landmark check-in point. So for people that are growing or wish to grow or change their lives or open themselves up to this higher consciousness, a higher level of identifying with yourself, what's going on, this eclipse brings, he said it's like shadow. The shadow is your shadow self. And then he showed me the Emperor card. The Emperor card is about leadership, right? And then he showed me the Sun card, which is the element in tarot of Leo. And so he said, so what's happening is that you need to take ownership and use your willpower to decide what needs to be taken from your physical body, emotional body, and mental body that no longer serves you, that brings you black. So there's a lot of work on past demons, past trauma, and past hurts, pain, anger. There is far too much anger and negative energy held in people's energy, whether they're aware of it or not. So this is about being brave, taking the Emperor energy, the Lion energy, that courage, because it's a fixed sign. So they literally are unmovable, which is to their detriment because they could be quite stubborn. But the leadership, the dedication to the better is second to none with Leos and the Leo energy. And so the solar eclipse is about listing out what is not right in your life making promises to yourself, affirmations to yourself of what you need to rid. This isn't spiritual mamby-pamby crap. We physically need to get rid of the energy that's holding us back and stopping the planet from getting where it needs to go. People are like, what are you talking about? We are all connected as one. You intrinsically know when you walk into a shop, doctors, walk down the street, you intrinsically know as soon as you look at someone in the eye, you will look at them and you'll know good, bad, indifferent, won't get on with you, like you. Your soul knows that soul in front of them, right? It knows. It registers every soul on the planet. And we keep forgetting that. We keep thinking we're a singular human body on our little path and we pop along, and we do what we do, and then off we go. And we either die forever or we go to some heaven, whatever people think. But we are all intrinsically connected. How many times have you sat in on a train or sat in a doctor's waiting room and you're gauging someone and then they'll say something, you think, I knew they're going to say that, or I knew they were going to be that type of person. I knew that was going to happen. You feel the energy. You know if you've got a soulmate connection. You know if you're not going to like someone and then they prove you right. You know that, just listen to that initial thing. That is your soul consciousness. And so what you hold in your bag, your soul bag, is what you give out and what you will get back time and time again. Why do I always get the wrong bloke? Why do I always get a cheater? Why do I always lose my job? Why do I never get enough money? Because you're telling yourself that, you're holding yourself that, you are labeling yourself because of your past, and this is a time to eradicate that. So they're giving us a helping hand. That eclipse, they're bringing in transmutable energies to come in, do its thing, change and go. And as I say, the ones that are residual at the moment, Dragon, Christ, Atlantean. There is another one coming in around the end of August or September, they've told me, but I don't know what it is yet, right? They're all coming in to help us get through this shift, because some people think they're going mad. They think they're going mental. Half the time, I can't even remember what's going on the earth because I don't care. I'm up there. What's going on? What's happening? My actual life or doing day-to-day stuff bores me because I'm up there just getting the next download. And so there is something going to take place on that shifting of shadow and light, Emperor and Leo, the sun, in the tarot cards, where it'll be a boof moment. And the people that are open to developing, growing, eradicating pain, looking to be a better person, they will feel it. And they'll be inspired to work on what is they're held in their soul bag to clear it out. There is something coming in through the energy of that sun, something coming in. And obviously the moon, with the lunar energy as well. So you've got the solar and lunar energy working to create whatever's going to happen on the 12th. And I won't know till I go through it, but that's what they keep telling me. There's an energy coming in that will transmute a lot of what's being held in people's soul baggage. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
So that's the
that links in
easiest way I can describe it.
You've also been saying that we've been at a boiling point, and so that sort of checks in with that as well, as in, like, this is like a
Yes.
real, sort of, and plus 2026, last time you came, you said this is gonna be the year of reckoning. And so this
Yes.
sort of, this almost like within the reckoning, is this a bit of a turning point then, like a call to agency? Like, it's almost like, there's
Yes.
been a bit of a reckoning and it's, you get the choice to pick up your pieces or sort of fall away with it.
Yes.
That's kind of what I'm
Yeah,
hearing
you can
from
either
you.
go with it or leave it. It's up to you. You can
Mm.
either carry on walking around with the heavy baggage. It's completely your decision, right? So that's on an individual level. But then suddenly, again, potentially, because of this, we could then see more chaos just to end this. I don't know when the next, unless they're going to tell me. Okay, it's quite a while because they've just gone up to January 28. So it could kick
Mm.
off even more earth disturbances, this eclipse. It could kick off even more volatility because we're eradicating, that boiling point has to go somewhere. It's like a steaming kettle. You've got to have the release point. This is what we're going through, this release point, and we've got to be responsible Sorry, I'm not looking at you. I'm just listening.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so the light with the darkness going across, it's a complete analogy of what we're creating in our souls. We are pure light, whether it's from the lunar energy or the solar energy, and then we allow the darkness to completely cover that light. So this is a pivotal reminder of a lot of you are allowing that to happen, and you're sitting in that dark energy. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, woo, evil, dark energy. What I'm talking about is that give up, don't care, world's crap, everything's useless, I'd rather die than do this. The amount of, God bless them, desperate souls telling me they don't want to live anymore, they hate the planet, what's the point of it? And so, and I'm trying to lift as many people as I can. And it's not my job to do that, but to give them the signpost to decide whether they want to follow that way. Because if you then get someone else to agree with them, then someone else go, yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like that. You're going to end up creating that army that we're trying to eradicate, as in Earthwalkers 2. You're going to create that army or that whole frequency of darkness. And that's where a Lucifer or an old age dark ancestral energy that's on the planet can jump in on that shadow. And that's what we're eradicating at the moment. And so I feel that the eclipse is a massive reminder of us. The darkness is there, but we need to push that aside for the light to come back again. And I think that's what it's all about. I will definitely be connecting in on the day and then channeling whatever it is coming through. But that's what I've perceived from everything they've told me. And sometimes it's thoughts and feelings and visions I've got to try and vocalize, which is even more difficult because they're giving it to me on this such huge scale. And when I saw the last time they showed me the eclipse, it was like the Emperor and the Sun cards in tarot, and they were flicking through all of my memories to try and give me quick visions of what they wanted to get across concerning it. So it takes a lot of work sometimes. Oh, I hate that word. It takes a lot of nurturing to work out sometimes what they're trying to tell you. Sometimes it is very much like a normal conversation, like I've had with spirit people since I was a kid, which is remarkable. I can't believe that I talk to angels like I would my dad in the spirit world or Darren. And it's like, oh, is this disrespectful? But it's not. They're just another frequency that are here to help us. And they're here to show us and guide us and say, look, we're here. We know it's hard. That's why, you're our oldest experiment on the planet of growth. And it will never change. We'll still be one of the most base planets for coming down to learn information. We crave human experience. Lots of other beings do. That's why we've got a lot of hybrids or people that have lived on other planets before. Starseed children and starseeds that have lived on other planets. I have definitely done Atlantis, definitely, and Lemuria. Because of the dreams I used to have of them. And Darren waking me up saying, you're at Atlantis again last night. And he was the biggest skeptic in the world when I met him. I said, why? He said, because you were going, come, let us go. And you had a trident and you were calling on your merman. And I'm like, okay. But, so we all love coming down here. It's a very special planet. And what's happening is, as explained in Earthwalkers, the High Court, which I've been to again since a child, I've been up to the High Court and seen all the beings sit there, very much like the Federation meetings I have, like when the Star Trek movies, like everybody from everywhere is there, or a UN meeting or whatever, they're all there. And they're like, whoa, hang on a minute. We've agreed to have this planet as our learning planet, our growth planet. It's dying. It's dying a death. It's rubbish. The humans are rubbish. Half of them are like working in the dark. They're controlling. It's all gone wrong. The balance is out. What are we going to do about it? And this is the beginning of Earthwalkers, the first couple of chapters is, should we just let it go? Because it's obviously not working. We've let them get away with too much. It's just a crap planet, basically. It's a Kazi, which is an English word for toilet. And so they have to decide. So the source decides, should we try and wake them up and start these happenings to say, hello, this is because you've created this, which is exactly what's happening with the fires and the disasters, the earthquakes, and all these people being outed, and the satanic ritual abuse people being outed, and the religions and the churches, everything. It's like, wow, but it's great because that's what we've asked for. So that they're basically creating all of this chaos to say, wake up. This is how bad you have created. This is how down the line critically you are on your planet. So you either wake up and sort your shit out, or you're not going to have a planet to live on, and all of the higher consciousness will go up to other planets. The rest of you go back to source and we'll decide what we're going to do with you. We don't know yet. But this is your wake-up call. This is your wake-up alarm. If you don't start responding to what we're trying to show you for so long, and now we're literally hammering it at you. Look at what is... There is not one day that there isn't a massive weather disaster. The solar shifts are, all of the solar shifts, the planetary shifts, the seismic shifts, everything's just moving to accommodate this new way of being, and we've got to go with it. And this is part of what the eclipse is about as well. We've got to start moving with it and be responsible for ourselves to deliver a better energy, because we're getting too bogged down in crap that really doesn't matter. Does it really matter if, I don't know, you got a parking ticket? Does it really matter if the eggs you wanted aren't in the supermarket? Does it really matter if, there's a problem with your kid at school? Go and deal with it. And I'm not taking down or minimalising our personal problems, but if we look at the bigger picture of everything that is thrown at us, it really isn't as bad as you make it feel. People get so bogged down with their own stuff. And if they actually look at the bigger picture, you're like, really? What can you do about it? And the best ever prayer. I remember one of my mum's friends gave me this card, and I've still got it in my purse. It's been there for years and years and years. Serenity prayer. Accept the things that you can't change. Have the courage to change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
And the wisdom to know the difference between the two.
Amen. Exactly. Can I change this shitty situation? Well, I'm going through a nightmare trying to get into this house at the moment on a personal thing. The owner, the seller, oh my God, what an attitude. Absolute nightmare. So just from a personal thing, this is what I want to say as well, is I show the reality of everything I go through up and down, because I can't stand these people. Oh, yes, I've sorted it. I'm a guru. I'm this, I'm that. Everything's great. No, it's not. You're a human on Earth. It's not all going to be gravy. Don't think you're above everybody else just because you can sit in front of a camera and talk to people from other planets. No. Show the reality of it. And so I got in the car the other day and I thought, I'm going to either go and murder this person or I'm just going to punch someone. I just was getting so angry and so, and then I just thought, hang on a minute, you're going down a rabbit hole, a 3D rabbit hole here, but don't be such a dickhead. And so I turned the car around, got to the beach, took my flip-flops off, stood and grounded myself in the sea, just opened myself up and said, I'm struggling with this. I know that it's not even close to anything bad on the planet. I'm just finding emotionally that I'm connected to this and I need to just get it out of my system. Please help me do that. Gaia, Ariel, Archangel Michael, give me the strength to just let this go, cut the cords or whatever. And then I think, right, what crystals do I need when I get home? And then I'm dealing with it. I'm owning it. I'm grabbing it and transmuting it to something positive, powerful, and that I can handle. I can't handle the outcome of a dickhead. I can handle how I react to that and how I move forward with it. And this is what I try and show people, because too many people give their power away, they give their energy away, and they become helpless, hopeless, and their life force completely is diminished. And so it is the most potent time on this planet that you can be diminished so quickly. But the yin and yang to that is that you can fire it up quicker than you've ever done in your life to be the most positive, powerful person you can be. And so that's what you need to take from it. Not, oh yeah, but I'm going to go downhill really quick. No, you're not. Pull it, own it, transmute it, sort it out, do what you need to do to deal with that personal problem or whatever the obstacle is. And don't get me wrong, there are catastrophic things going on. I get that. Horrific deaths and wars. And I'm not, please don't even think for a minute I am minimalising that. It's absolutely horrific. But again, rather than enter into the energy, and again, I've said this to you before, but they keep telling me I've got to remind people, rather than look into the horror of what's taking place in anything on this planet, we send love, strength, courage to the victims. We don't, oh, how do they do that? I can't believe they've done that. Get into the love, peace, calm. That will smash away the negativity far more quicker than everybody jumping on the anger wagon. Anger and fear, doubt, frustration, hatred, jealousy, envy will be what the dark army can sit on for the rest of days because it's so thick and dense. That's what you got to eradicate.
As you're listing all of that, one of the words that's been present for me is grief. And I know, I mean, you try your best not to tune into what's going on in the collective and some like media and stuff like that. Sorry, not in the collective. Like you're obviously tuning in pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
But the media and stuff. But I mean, and you said to try and keep yourself as clear as possible. It must be a trippy question, I guess, but it must be somewhat hard to discern when Darren obviously so much of the love of your life in many ways, in every way. And then obviously you've got your own grief. But part of me does wonder, we've had a few teachers on the podcast come through and it's like, you call this the year of reckoning. I mean, I do, there is this feeling of grief. And I do wonder if we're grieving like an old world that's sort of leaving and something new's coming through. But it does seem like there is quite a density at the moment around grief in and of itself. I haven't really seen you speak too much about the collective grief, maybe because you're worried that it's filtered like your own filter and grief, but have you been able to sort of tune in? Like, did you get my question?
Absolutely, I totally get your question, and I'm afraid we're going to have an editing moment because my battery that was full has just been completely zapped.
I'll give you a sec.
That is insane because this is a 12-hour battery.
But when you're going this hard,
and I was on an interview the other day, and they had it was Emilio, and his whole place lost power for 10 minutes before I was about to talk. And
really, at Emilio's?
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to go and get my.
You go do your thing. I'll hang tight.
12-hour battery.
I'll hang tight.
Thank you, Angel Realms. Sorry about that.
I'll hang tight. No, please don't apologise.
That is insane. It's just completely drained my battery. That has never happened. Ever.
Touch wood.
Oh, my crown chakra's going. I'm so sorry about that.
Please don't apologise, Nikki. Thank you so much.
You naughty angels. Okay, grief.
Yeah, I mean, it must be really hard for you to discern between the two, given everything that, is so right for you. But, I mean, I think also collective grief, like, yeah.
There's massively. You've got your own internal grief for your own personal losses. So, luckily, I've not been a stranger of grief and bereavement. Obviously, I was a detective and dealt with family liaison duties with murder victim families, rape victims, and was trained in bereavement. But that doesn't matter if you're trained. It's going through it that you know how to cope with it. Honouring grief. Thank you. Someone's asked, hello, Catherine. Catherine, one of my guides. Oh, she does love the tarot. She's a druid. She's in. Sorry. Okay, hello. She wants to come in on this. Okay. So, yes, I'll do that. Hang on. Sorry about this. I didn't know this was going to happen either. Perhaps she drained it with the angel realms. I don't know. She drained the computer. Right, okay. So, grief. So, the individual grief, I can honour and process. I know how to do it. I've got the tools to do it. There are days when I'm completely lost and completely bereft and don't want to even be on the planet. I have days like that hit me. I had one the other day where I thought, what is the point of doing anything without Darren? And then obviously it triggers seeing what happened, and it's not great. But then I deal with it through therapy. I deal with it through, as I've already shown you, through the crystals, meditation, the ocean, blah, blah, blah. But there's one thing that's incredible that I need to tell you about, that I have spoken about on a video, is that they are also helping us. So make sure you remind me to say about the collective grief. They're also helping us on an individual basis to end circles of grief, bring you to landmark. Landmark energy is a real big thing at the moment, where they are showing you right in front of your face, just like they did by draining my computer, that they're here. There's no wishy-washy, oh, that's a possible sign. They are in your face, right? So the other day, I had Karen and Sharon here, who run Karma, my crystal company, right? They were coming up to bring new crystals in and give me some bits to show people, and we had to have a business meeting. So I'd gone to show them my beach house, and we came back and we were hungry, right? So they said, we'll just go for fish and chips. Fish and chips, good old English, like, go-to, innit? Bit of fish and chips, by the sea. As we get outside the fish and chip shop, I say, no, we're not going to the fish and chip shop. We're going to go to this restaurant place on the beach. They went, oh, I went, yeah, we're going there. They went, okay. It's completely out of nowhere. But we were going for fish and chips. Go into this restaurant, which is right on the beach, and there's these two men speaking Spanish. Now, obviously, Darren died in Spain, right, in Lanzarote. So they're talking, and I went, oh, it's like being in Spain. And I was trying to listen, and they were just talking about work. It was really boring. And I went, God, it's like being in Spain, because it was red hot, very hot day. I think it's about 34 degrees, which is hot for here. And so we're sitting there, and then I look, and I say, oh, look, somebody's in the sea. So I said, I think we should be popping in there later on, because it's really hot. And then I'm looking, and then I see a man wading in, and he's dragging this body. And then I can see we have RNLI. I don't know if you have, obviously, sea rescue over there, but we have RNLI, which are voluntary. They are absolute legends of the UK.
Oh, like Coast Guard. Like Coast Guard. Sort of, yeah, right.
So okay. This huge rib comes wanging across towards this body, and I realise, to my absolute horror, that this man is dragging out a dead body that's just drowned in the sea. And I can't tell you.
Oh,
because
you must
it's
be
exactly what
reliving the
happened
whole
with Darren.
thing again with, oh my God.
So
we talked about this in the last episode deeply. For those that don't know what's going on, that reference point will be in the other episode. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So I start going a bit hysterical, and then suddenly the Coast Guard's there as well, and they're pumping the chest, which is what I had to do with Darren on the beach. And it was horrific. And then suddenly they were still working on him. And then suddenly I had this calm come over me. And I sat and I walked in, because we were watching on the balcony, and I thought, I can't watch this. What am I doing? And I walked in and sat down, and this calm come over me. And then Karen and Sharon and my friend Faye, who's like my soul sister, just put their hands on my hand and went, you're safe. You are looking at this. This is the end of a chapter. This is the tying up of a season of grief for you. Not that I'm not grieving anymore, but the reality of what happened was showing me that I was watching it from afar. I was safe, I was loved, and I was about to enter a completely new phase of my life that I'd manifested, right? And then I felt the angel realms, and they were just, you're safe. And it was almost like Seraphim was singing in the background. And then 5 songs, one after the other, were all Darren's favourite songs that came out over in the restaurant. And then they actually saved and resuscitated this person, and he was taken to hospital, and he made it. And he survived it. But the fact is that I'd completely out the blue. So later on, I'm like, I can't wait to get home. I'm going to go straight up. So what was all that about? And they said, we were taking you back to something. We told you to go there because we knew you'd see it. And we wanted to show you how far you've come away from that trauma, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You sat in complete chaos and hysteria for about a minute, TikTok time, Gregorian time, and then suddenly you realised you were safe, you were loved, you were well, because obviously his family terrorised me, didn't they, and did what they did. And they said, just see how far you've come. This is a transitional state. Look how much that you've nurtured, and I'm going to say it, worked on yourself to come to this space of acknowledging that traumatic passing, and you're now looking from it afar, and now you know that person's safe and you are. I'm like, wow. So people may on an individual basis get something like that ties up a circle of pain and grief. The thing with grief is we all handle it differently in whichever way, shape or form. Nobody can tell you how, why and where to grieve. Nobody can do that. It's your process. What you have to do though is gauge it. So if you've got to a stage like a few years on and you're still not wanting to live, just not thriving, not looking after yourself, have created massive issues around your family and your loved ones, it's time for you to start grabbing that Emperor Leo energy and going, do you know what? I need to go and see a therapist. I need to start working on what I can't do. What do you do? Live in the dark forever? Is that what you want to do? Do you want to live in that grief forever? They would never, ever want you to be that person. They've forgotten it. I can't remember if I told you this. It may be after I spoke to you, darling. I was laying with Darren. It must have been after. I was laying with Darren and I said, what's the last thing you remember, darling? And he said, all I remember is you talking to me, saying it's going to be okay, and you laying on my chest and kissing my face. The sun was on my face. I was looking up the sky and I could hear the sea. I said, is that all you remember? He went, yep. That's all his soul has taken. His soul has not taken him having a heart attack and dying and his lungs filling up and me trying to keep him above the water. None of that. But we do. That's all we think of. That's all we carry as humans down here, which is totally natural. But there is a time when your intuition will tell you, you've got to let it go now. You've got to try and work towards healing that or eradicating yourself of the pain, the guilt, the anger, the coulda, woulda, shouldas, especially with suicides and things like that. And so there's a time where you have to take it upon yourself to decide to heal rather than sit in that label of this person died of and I'm still sitting in it. And I get it. It is hell on earth. But I tell you what, the freedom of and now and then, I still can't look at a photo of him, still can't do it. But do you know what? That's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not damaging myself or anybody else because I don't want to see a photo of him. But if I was acting badly into self-destruction or hurting myself or hurting other people, that's a problem. Can you see what I mean? It's okay to begin with, but as the years go by, you have to have a little self-check-in. And so the thing is with
choice and
grief,
agency and
and
self-awareness, like you were saying earlier as well.
exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a familiarity to grief. Grief keeps you connected with that person. Grief keeps you connected with the changes in the planet. And so we have this inadvertent desire to hold on to something because it's familiar, even if it's negative. And so what we need to do is the shifts that are taking place in the planet.
Does that sort of segue into the collective grief now? Is that what you're doing? Is sort of segueing into collective grief a little bit? Yeah,
absolutely.
Perfect.
This collective grief that we're feeling is, it never used to be like this. It never used to be like that. Think of all the people that have died in the war. Think of all the people that died in that recent earthquake. And they're holding on to the grief of individuals' grief, and it's amassing. Does that make sense? And so it's stronger. And lots of people are saying to me, I'm waking up and I just feel really, really depressed and I don't know why. I'm feeling really down, or I'm feeling really tearful, or I'm feeling like I don't want to go on. It's like you're picking up on the collective energy of the planet. And so again, it's another, we've got to let go of that, because it's like the death card. The biggest problem with the death card is in tarot. Sorry, I'm talking about tarot. It's because of Catherine. She loves her tarot. So she's saying that with death, it is one of the most positive, perfect cards in the deck for change, new beginnings, and letting go of the old. But when it's reversed, or if it's flanked with delayed card energy, it means that you just won't let go. Even if it's negative, it's familiar, and you don't know how to go into the new. You don't know how to embrace change or new beginnings. It's too scary. People like routine, people like safety and security and everything running smoothly. And now, obviously, because more of the new neurodivergence is coming to play, because this consciousness shift and these hemisphere changes, people are becoming more sensitive, aware. There's more nervous system and brain issues, ADHD and autism, all the rest of it, which are our new generation, beautiful children. That people are becoming more sensitive to it, and so they don't want to change. They don't like things changing and shifting. And so the problem is we've been drip fed it for in certain extent. We've been drip fed. Other times it's like mushrooms being kept in the dark and fed a load of shite. But in other instances, they're throwing it at us, right? And this is what Earthwalkers 2 is about. So drip feeding technology, for instance. Do you remember? Obviously, you're too young, but I remember my technology was 2 lines going blip, blip on Atari. You just hit a dot.
Yes,
right?
Pong.
That was
Everyone knows Pong.
my mobile phones, none of that, just landlines and stuff like that. And even in the police, I remember when I had to go and do a session in the 999 call centre, everything's paper. There was no computers. It was all paper and faxes and radios to send them to the... Honestly, I feel so old. I know I don't look it, darling. And
I don't feel young.
Now,
I had Snake. Sorry, yeah, go on.
Snake on a Nokia.
Yeah. No one knows what a Nokia is anymore.
For me. I'm like, oh, I've got Snake on this Nokia phone. And so some of the technology, they've got time travel, they've got all of it there. They've got everything. They've got changing, like the fly, moving one body to another, teleporting. They've got it all. All of it from alien technology. All of it. All the med beds, everything. They've got to drip feed it. And so now when I look, and I said this to my friend the other day, I went, realise where we've come. We've never heard of a CD when I was a kid. I'm not that old, but never heard of a CD. And now we're downloading and God knows what on AI. And it's just incredible how far we've come. We're not grieving any of that because it's been slowly drip fed. But because we've got to a cataclysmic time we've got to make and break and wake these people up, we're shoving a load of this is the problem. This is what you've done. This is what your pollution, your cutting rainforests, and God knows, this is what is creating fires, earthquakes, blah, 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 right? Fracking, all the rest of it. This is what it's doing. So they've had to throw that at us rather than drip feed it, right? It was gentle to begin with from the 40s, but now it's like, do you know what? This is our last Hail Mary. We need to show them shit they're in, basically. And so this is the grief that people never used to be like this. Why can't it be like the old days? This all used to be fields once and la 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 la. And I get it. But they need to work on that. Honour it one day at a time. Grief, that's what it is. But there's a point where you're going to have to say, do you know what? I've sat in this long enough. What can I do to ease myself away from it? And as I say, the death card, I always see it, if it, as I say, flanked by non-moving cards or it's reverse. It's like gripping on for dear death, like literally like the Grim Reaper, gripping on. I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. I want the old. I can't change. I don't want change. I don't want the world to change. But you're just going to have to release that grip and then find tools to help you get through that. Because if we're not careful, we've been given such an amazing gift of intuition and the highest consciousness this planet has ever witnessed. Ever. All the planets have aligned to it, the energy being brought in, the atmospheres being brought in. We have been given the most pivotal options at this time to become the most highest enlightened beings in the whole of the system of the universe. We've got to be careful with that. So this is a very important time in our making. At the moment, the needle is shifting that everything will be fine and well for 2032, the main landmark where they're going to punch in at the High Court. Where are we? Yet we're okay, right? Or we're gone. It's that simple. And at the moment, the needle's in the positive. But we've got to be careful what we're being given. People are waking up every single day at a mass rate. And if they bend it wrong and they start sending out that negative energy, the hate, the anger, and allowing everything around them to completely absorb their being, we're going to be in trouble again. there's 3D people some people that have come on my channel that don't know me, have just obviously found me on a feed or whatever, and have gone, "Oh, you're so full of doom and gloom." And it's like, no, it's a reality. Just have a look at the world at the moment and start sending some positive energy into it, because the reality is it is not a good place at the moment, because it's shifting, it's crying out, and Gaia has got the massive That is why on Earthwalkers, her face is like that. That's Archangel Ariel. She's so angry, and so is Gaia, of how we've abused our home. And so they go, "Oh, it's all doom and gloom." It's not doom and gloom, it's a reality. The reality is the planet is crying out for help, and we need to help it. So it's not doom and gloom, it's reality. And we bleed when we cut. We get cut, we bleed. We broke a bone, it needs to be healed. The planet is broken, it's bleeding, and it's saying, "This is all happening because this is what you've done. Heal me and help me to get it well again." It's crying out, it's asking us to say, "Help heal me." So it's not doom and gloom. It's a beautiful, it's a happening. It is a biblical happening. And I don't adhere to the Bible, but it's a good word to use. It's an epic happening of wake up, that if we don't respond in the right way, we're in big trouble. But the good news is, at the moment, we're spiking towards, we're making it. People are waking up and starting to take responsibility, starting to speak their truth, starting to attend these protests, starting to question elites, leaders, and all the rest of it. The reality is coming out every single day of what's happening, and it's fantastic. And that's what we need to keep going towards. Lose the fear, and don't get involved in all the arguments and the playground crap with the leaders and he said and she said and all that. Just don't. It's just noise. It's 3D noise. And again, people that don't know me, that find me online, they're like, "Oh, didn't you know that? I didn't even know the World Cup was coming on." And mind you, I got it wrong. I said Spain or Brazil, but Brazil was out way before. But Spain, I thought, was going to win, or Brazil. And I'm
Spain
like,
did
I don't know
win.
why I'm saying it. I know. I know
Yeah.
they won. I should have put a bet on it, shouldn't I? But they wouldn't have won then, because they don't let me win nothing. But I sat there saying, "Oh, I keep seeing the World Cup and blah, 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 blah." I said, "England will do really well, but they won't win it. And I can see Spain and Brazil," I said. But then I thought, what are you talking about? The World Cup isn't till 10 years. For some reason, I thought it's every 10 years. Don't even question me. But I don't care. I do care, because I watched all the England games, and I did watch the Spanish game because I love them. But I don't care about that stuff. And people are, "Oh, didn't you know?" Like Anne Widdecombe. I don't know if you heard about that. One of our most celebrated, for whatever reason, good or bad, politicians was murdered horrifically. And I did a prediction on it. And people were like arguing about whether it was conspiracy, if it wasn't conspiracy, if she was taken out, if she wasn't. It's like, look, just don't, you're going into the semantics, and then it created rows. And then you start seeing all of the comments of everybody winding each other up, and the bots being chucked in there. And again, do you ever see these posts online where they create a really, really bad comment or something that's so outrageous, and then it sets off thousands of comments of hate and
They're doing that on purpose.
exclamations? "I can't believe someone said this." It's a bot. So they've got to try and keep us in fear, anger, frustration, and in this argumentative war zone energy, because when we're calm, open, in control, knowledgeable, wise, sit with sageness and patience and love, they will lose. And that's where we're going. And they can't have that, because they can't control that. Because once we start linking up, the biggest secret of the planet that's been, is there an afterlife? Why are we even asking it? Of course there is. Everybody should have the right to know that our natural state of being, from physical body back to ethereal body, it's fact. But why have they made it a secret? Because they know that if we knew that was just a natural, they've transitioned, they've just gone up to another stage, I'll see them in a bit, right? Like it should be, like it used to be in the beginning of time, right? They would know then that every single thing they said and did, we've got to link up. we've got to link up to the divine, to other energies, planets, and we're going, actually, no, that's wrong. We're not listening to that. They don't want us to have that knowledge. They don't want us to have the knowledge of the universe. And so that's why they keep us in our little pens, in our little meat suits, in our little houses, and charge us for everything and take our power away. Because we can't have the knowledge of the afterlife, the angel realms, alien beings, star beings, can't have it, because we would see through all of the illusions that they've created on here since the last couple of 100 years. It's that simple. You know, let's implement taxes, let's implement bills, let's implement everything we possibly can to bring them down, put them in the rat race of having to make money because we're charging them money to live. Let's keep them in that rat race because we need them running, and we need them just solely in that 3D material need to keep this. But because if we don't keep them like this, they will do this, and they'll embrace this, and they will know all of the secrets we've tried to keep all of this time, and we've had it. Then we can't control anything. Air, water, electricity, gas, we can't do any of it. Oil. Everybody's decided to put a stamp on everything. And that's going to all be eradicated as well. You've gone dark on me. So this is, I'm going to carry on talking. This is a complete example of what's been happening on all of my interviews. So first of all, my computer got completely wiped of any power, even though it's got a 12-hour battery. Amrit's now disappeared. And on my last interview, there was a complete power outage for 10 minutes before I even started as I brought the angels in. This is what happens. So I have no clue what to do now because it's all gone quiet. Are you there, Amrit? This is typical of angel energy and what's going on the planet. And I would say, for anybody watching this, what is happening in your lives, does it reflect things we've been talking about? Because I bet it does. Bet you it does. It's happening everywhere. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Man, everything's greyed out.
I'm telling you.
I can't see myself in the cameras, but the mic's on. Yo. Sorry about that.
Honestly, it's part of it, isn't it? See?
It's really trippy. Everything greyed out. My video turned off, my mic turned off, everything greyed out. I've been sitting there trying to leave, come back in. I can't even leave. I couldn't come back in. And then everything's back to white now.
Every single interview I've had, exactly the same thing. So
what is that?
This last bit of segment.
What is that? Is that just the charge of what's coming through? Is it just is it too easy to say the frequency is too high? Like, I mean, that's a bit convenient, but is that what you're feeling?
No, I feel like it's that they come in a massive poof, and obviously the EMF fields and all of the power it takes to do that sometimes just gets wiped out. And so it's high frequency energy coming into the atmosphere and it just wipes everything out. I remember when I was invoking, I was just about to do a TV show ages ago and I was in the hairdressers and I thought, right, I was just going to have a quick word with the angel realms and the spirit world, just say, be there for me and inspire me. Because I thought I'm not going to have another 5 minutes after this because it's going to be totally like in the car, go to the studio. And as I did it, the whole salon went, boom. All the power went, everything turned off, everybody stood there. And then, because they knew me, they're like, Nicky, is that you? And I went, all I did was ask him to come in. And everything went. I had to restart the fuse box. I'm like, sorry. And then I thought, right, don't be as hard coming in. And as I was like closing my eyes, everything started flickering again. They went, Nicky, can you just wait to get out the salon? I went, all right then. Oh! What the hell? Did you see that?
I did see that. It was just sitting there just fine. Who knocked it over? I want to know now.
Someone just pushed my whole... I'm on a computer. I'm on a laptop. And it's put on top of a secure shelf thing. And that's just been pushed straight off. There you go. I'm telling you, it's in a secure, there is
Can I
no
ask you about that?
way.
None of this gives you the
That's just got
heebie-jeebies,
thrown
though.
towards
Yeah, but
me. And
none
in
of this gives
fact,
you.
I've got a mark on my foot now. Ow, don't do it so brutally. Oh, right. I think partly it's because they like watch your energy, and partly it's because they wanted to show me and you live what they're capable of doing. That just came shooting towards me. It's a whole laptop.
Mm,
Hasn't slid off.
mm.
There is nothing. That is crazy. Crazy.
Wow.
There's nobody else in the room apart from Myla, and she's here. So she hasn't got up on the table, up on the shelf to hold it and pushed it. She couldn't do it. She's here. Thank you so much. And this is a problem. The sheeple will think, oh my God, it's a demon. Oh my God, that's really bad. It's poltergeist. I'm going to get sucked in the telly. Because they're put in a fear that the power of the angel realms and the spirit world, they're put in fear that it's negative and they don't know what they're dealing with and it's dodgy.
Well, this is what I was going to
Absolutely
ask you.
not.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to
It's
ask you
not.
because you're not perturbed
That's
by this
bloody
at all.
brilliant.
Mm.
No! As I said, one of them, Archangel Zadko opened the doors the other day. I'm trying to work out who did it. Possibly Catherine with, I don't know who else was in the house then. But I don't think they've actually, I'm going to have a bruised foot now, but I don't think they thought that. But then again, this is a typical example. Perhaps that's why they did it. Typical example of someone saying, oh, bad spirit bruised my foot. Load of shite. This is basically, they didn't think for 1 minute that was going to hit my foot. But they just did it because we were talking about phenomena. We were talking about you just greyed out and
Yeah.
my computer just been zapped, 12-hour battery, went to zero in a
And now it
second.
goes flying like flying.
And then that's come flying towards me. Someone pushed it. I love it. But other people go, oh my God, I'm scared. Scared of what? Don't talk where. This is who we are. And we used to be able to be telepathic, manipulate energy with our mind. I used to sit as a kid in the bedroom knowing, and I was only 5, 6, knowing that I could open the door easily and I could pick things up. I used to sit there for hours thinking, why can't I do it anymore? Why can't I do it? Because I knew that I could move things like we saw, on that planet where he said that we manipulate the plasma craft with our mind. Try and work that one out. But it's simple. We're made
Plasma
of
and
energy and
intention.
light and colour and
Plasma and
sound. How can
intention.
we not manipulate everything around us? Of course we can. We've just been told we can't over the years of millennia of we can't let them know how powerful they are, otherwise we've lost control over them. And that's
So
why they changed the Bible and made everything devil and 666 and, all that, Pan, the beautiful deity. I think we spoke about this before, changed the devil, the cloven hoofed man. It's like, oh, whatever, for God, do you know what I mean? And it's just no fear. And literally, this is just give you an example, right? Just say you've just been greyed out. I've just had my computer completely zapped, right, which is impossible. It literally was nearly full. It's a 12-hour thing, and then suddenly it went ding and went, and I know that that's paranormal, whatever you want to call it, right? Angel energy. So I've plugged that in. You've just greyed out and completely disappeared and couldn't go anywhere. I've then had the laptop thrown at me, literally thrown at me on a secure shelf, right? And it's an L shape. So you got that some going to push that forward because obviously the base is going to balance it out, isn't it? So it's been thrown at me, right? So what I would do then is you sit, just as an example, right? If people want to enter into the negative part of it, you sit in the energy and think, right, what's happened? I feel warm, safe, loved. There's no dodgy smells. If anything, there's a angel essence, which is very floral for angels, and there's no air fresheners in here. The dog hasn't reacted. I'm still feeling the energy of good and beauty. There's no bad feelings. There's no cold spots. I'm not shivering. My back is not being dragged through my spine, which is a definite sign of negative energy. No, everything's perfect. So I know that that is the beauty and love of the angel realms and everything we just spoke about. This is what makes me laugh. You say people go, oh my God, what was that? I'd get out of that house or I'd go and get a priest. You're like, what are you talking about? You're asking for it. I'm proving it. and you're fearing it. Don't fear it. So I know that all of that was beautifully orchestrated from our beautiful friends, because we were talking about it. They're going, look, this is what we can do now. Yeah, it happens on every single interview and video I do. There's always something happening on screen. And that's how you know the difference. If you've done a Ouija board and you've got no medium on there, there's nothing wrong with Ouija boards, communication boards. They're like a gun. If they're trained, you know what you're doing, they're absolutely brilliant tool. If you don't, they're dangerous, right? Or if you're on a sacred site and you know that there's bad problems there, bad smells, bad luck, electrical faults, like that villa I stayed in Spain. I don't know if you ever I spoke about that, the gin that was in there. You just know, and that's when you know that it's something negative, because you get loads of other things go wrong and make you feel uneasy that you want to get out of the room. But generally, you're going to experience a lot more phenomena now. Embrace it. Don't fear it. You'll know if it's bad. I'm telling you that now. You'll know. But don't make your fear make it bad. That is just beautiful evidence of them showing the power of what they can do now. They never used to. There is something changed, and again, this came up in the Earthwalkers book. There's something changed in the Akashic records where they can get more interactive and more involved. And I've never heard something so stupid all my life, and I don't care. I'm putting it out there. Someone said, someone on here said that once the transition shifts, there will be no guides and angels ever again surrounding Earth. I'm like, oh, no. So I've always heard that. Apparently that's been going around the houses. Absolute nonsense. They're the most strongest and closest to us they possibly can, without going too much against free will. I've never ever known angels to manipulate the ether. And that started recently. And that's not spirit.
Why do you think that's happening?
Because they're letting us know they're real and that they're about, and that they've got us, because we're losing hope. A lot of people are losing hope. Sheeple are. People like us that are awake are okay. We get it. But the sheeple are getting scared, and they're thinking it's the end of the world and there's all this war and everything going on, and they're like, "Arr!" And they're the ones that will feed that darker frequency.
Well, it's interesting because some people will be watching into this episode and then watching your response and seeing how unperturbed you were by the whole thing, and that's a whole part of this episode that was necessary, in your opinion. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's why they did it, because I love it. It excites me. It gives me hope, and it gives me not hope, it gives me validation. It gives me credit as a person that's saying this is what they're doing. So they're giving me credit as well, because it's not an ego thing, but some people just think, oh, you've got a great imagination, you talk a load of shit and you're a good guesser, excuse my French. And I'm like, okay, sheeple people. But when you have things like that happen, it's like, well, pick the bones out of that then. Either I'm a cheat or I've got someone that's threw it behind me, which I haven't. And it's like the doors opening by themselves. And, you know, even I've done interviews before where I had a hummingbird and it just literally flew across the room. And it was a statue that was attached to the shelf, and it flew across the room, and everybody went mental. Oh my God, you need to check your house out. Have you got an evil demon in there? Did you see that move? And I'm like, oh, that's the first go-to, and it's just so frustrating. It's one of my bugbears, and so hopefully this will inspire people to embrace it. And then you get the people go, oh yeah, but you don't know if it's a demon playing with you, and you know he's pretending he's an angel. You're like, oh. Then I've heard people say Metatron's a demon, and it's just like it's the dark infiltrating to try and stop you from getting the knowledge and the celestial absorption. That's all it is. They're just like, oh God, this is really getting powerful. We need to pretend that it's evil. Evil is, it's really hard work being evil. It's really hard work because you've got to jump and exist through the shadows. Unless you've created a vortex in an ancient ancestral area that you own, like the gin in that Spanish villa I was in a few years ago of Darren, right? Unless they've had that land since year dot, they have to jump between shadows and on people's negative energy. They've got no power at all. That is why the most highest recorded demon possessions are Catholics and religious people, because every single day they're praying, even though they're praying against him, their intent is on the devil, on demons, on Satan. Keep me away from demons. God, protect me from the devil. Every single day, their energy is on that energy. That is why they're the highest recorded for having possessions, because they're inviting it in by continually fearing it and thinking it. Whatever we fear and think about, if we repeatedly do that, we end up creating it as a reality. And this is what I said just a way back. We are so potent at the moment that everything that we think of, we can potentially create if we continually push it. So if I start getting, a bad day and I start thinking, oh, for God's sake, blah, 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 I think, whoa, hang on a minute. You're creating a bit of a pattern here. Break it now, because you're going to end up creating that as a reality.
Yeah, I've been noticing that quite a bit actually. Even just with my circumstantial, where I'm at in life at the moment, we're just, 3 young kids, touch wood, and it can get busy, and then sometimes it's like, oh my god, and I find myself. It's not really like a complaint, but it's like just listing off all the things that are going on. And yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm trying to avoid saying that I'm complaining. I am complaining.
No,
Um,
we
and
all need to
I
complain. We need to get it out.
but then as I'm doing that, I'm realizing I gave myself an experiment where for a week I decided, for a week I'm going to give it my best shot to just stop complaining and just see what happens. And my God, Nikki, like I got addicted to not complaining because it was so draining. I didn't even realize what a drain it was to complain. I thought I was venting, but I was putting more of the nonsense out into it and feeding it back to myself. And then when I
Yeah,
stopped, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, like stuff is going on and we'll get on with getting on. And then you just get on and it's
exactly.
like all of a sudden I've got more energy. It's like, what the?
Yeah.
And to your point, maybe this is part of what you're describing, like in terms of, you
Absolutely, because
know,
you can take yourself down your own rabbit hole, because you go, well, that's not happening, so no doubt that's going to happen now, and I bet you that happens, and I bet you because that happens, that's going to happen, and you're actually creating your own reality of complete negativity. Oh, I bet that's going to happen to me now. Oh, no doubt, those lumps will be cancer. Oh, I bet this is going to happen. You're like, oh, and I despair. I haven't got it right by any means, Amrit. I haven't got it right. But you see people perpetually statementing a reality they don't want, but they're doing it every day, every week, every month, and wonder why they don't get anywhere in life. Well, are you going to go for that job? No, I'm not going to get it. Oh, don't apply then. What do you mean? Well, you're not going to get it. You've just told yourself you're not going to get it, so don't bother going through the semantics of it. And I do get a bit impatient sometimes. I need to check myself there, because I do get impatient with people that are continually negatively telling themselves they're not worthy of a right partner, of the right job, of health, wealth, whatever. And I have to check myself because they're learning. I get that, but it's the yeah, but people that I get a bit frustrated with, where you say you do know that what you're talking about, you're actually manifesting that energy around you. Yeah, but, and I say, well, just perhaps think about what you're saying, perhaps write out what you're feeling so that you're getting rid of it in a written form and you're not owning it. Yeah, but I don't know if I want to write. I'm too, and you just think, and in the end, I think you can't lead a horse, and force
mhm.
them to drink the water. You literally have to show them the signpost and not take on board what reality they're creating for themselves. It's all part of our own individual journey. And my individual journey, because I had such a bad upbringing, a bad childhood, and had so much trauma in my life, I've always wanted to save other people, make their lives better than mine was. And that was a big learning curve that I had to come away from during my spiritual boot camp for those 5 years when Earthwalkers was being written. And now it's like I can't keep carrying people and trying to lead them to that water. I'll show them the path and I'll say, there's the trough at the end of it. If you want to have a drink, go for it. If you don't, fair play. It's nothing to do with me. So and the thing is, I know I'm down here to do that, because every single day, every other hour, every minute, I'm acknowledging the angel realms. It's just routine now. It's like breathing. I've done it for so long that you don't have to do, right, I'm going to sit with the angels now, I'm going to meditate. It just comes, and the inspiration, the thoughts, the processes. And then literally I go, I need to record that, or I need to film this. It's not about followers. It's not about, look how good I am. Look, I'm on the camera again. It's, I need to show the humans this. My whole reason for being on this planet is to take people through trauma, mindfulness, darkness, find their spirituality, help them grow, connect with the angels. That's all I'm here for this pivotal time. I'm holding the hands of humanity by doing what I'm doing, because every single day, it's not about, I want to do this. It's, I must do this. I must record this. I must say this. I must show this. I must let them know. There's never a day that doesn't go past. I think, what can I do today to benefit the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, or humankind, or the planet? Most probably not an hour goes by. And some people think, oh, that's tiring, but that is my vocation and reason for being on this planet. That is my whole reason for being. And thank you for that space, because that's just come out. I mean, I never even thought that was going to come out, darling. But that's what it's about. And so, living and breathing this, of course I'm going to have spiritual, physical phenomena around me. Of course I'm going to know what's going to happen on the planet, because I'm there working it. And I've got my heart and my head and my mind more up in that ethereal space in the celestial realms I have down here. Because when you embrace all the crap that's on your phones and in the news and in your communities, that's when you lose your way. By all means, you can keep up with it, but don't engross yourself with it. And do you know what? I know that everybody says this, but I just walk around. I walk down the beach with Myla, and everybody's either got their dogs and they're doing that. And you've got the ocean. Yesterday, there was a hugest moon in the sky. It was so hot, I had to take her early evening. And every single person was doing that. And I'm like, there is the biggest, goldenest, reddest moon in the sky. It's illuminating the ocean. It's the waves are just shimmering in on this white golden sand. You've got all of this night scented stock breathing in this, and they're like that. And you're like, wow. Yeah. Just wow. What are you, I don't know. I just don't know how people, it's everywhere. And that's what we've got to try and break and do this. Look around you, embrace it. Your life will be so much better than being in a moving box of, Julianus, my guy, calls it the interbox. And it's just like, it's like a coffin. You're laying in a coffin of your own being. I'm like, I know he hates it. He hates it. But there are the positives, because without these people, we wouldn't be able to get our word out. So there's positives and negatives. It's all moderation, isn't it, darling?
Touch wood. Learning the tools. And
absolutely.
Yeah. My goodness. Nicky, thank you so much for your predictions, for your tools, for, my God, what a moment in the podcast today. I've still got goosebumps. What an energy.
I've been trying not to do this on my head. My crown is like on fire. I can't even tell you. I just want to, after this, I'm going to do that, because it's driving me insane.
Does this still qualify as a podcast now, or what is it? It's an experience. I don't know what. Anyway.
It's an epic. You might have to do 2 parts.
Touch wood. Nicky, as always, like I said at the beginning, it is such a treat and a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here, sharing yourself so abundantly and opening, like, everything that you've opened up with us today. And also from myself and on behalf of the Inspired Evolution audience, especially for those that have tuned into your first episode, if you haven't, I encourage you to go back and have a look. And also check out I'll link all your stuff in the show notes and the descriptions below as well, Nicky. But my goodness, yeah, I mean, Nicky's mentioned it in passing here today, like her own story, but we do dive deep into that into the first episode. And I just want to say, conversations like this stand on the shoulders of not just, other conversations in the body of work you've done, but also your entire life. Like you said just before, this is your entire life's work. Yeah, man, thank you so much for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being you. I adore you. And one day I'm going to come and give you the biggest hug ever.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited for your new place. So yeah, all the best with that as well.
Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you.
You made it through to the end of another really incredible episode, touch wood. Thank you so much for your inspirations to evolve. It is such an honor to be your brother walking this path by your side. To all of you that are subscribed to the channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everything you see around here, it's all powered and empowered by you championing this podcast. Costs you absolutely nothing. It's absolutely free. Hit the subscribe button below, and it supports love, positivity, and wisdom like this being spread through the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. It really goes such a long way. Cannot thank you enough. To all of you that haven't yet subscribed, please do take a moment. As I'm saying the word subscribe, the button below is lighting up in the colors in the Inspired Evolution. Please join the community, join the movement, spreading love, positivity, and wisdom like this around the planet together. Thank you so much in advance for your incredible support. It costs you absolutely nothing. It's completely free. Just hit that subscribe button. It helps power the entire movement. Thank you. Friendly reminder again, we have, if you're inspired by this content and you want to forge it into real connection, we have the Inspired Evolution Community Circle, the Circle online as well. You can check it out, inspiredevolution.com/circle if you feel the call for more community in this Aquarian time like this. And on screen now for you to dive in even deeper on your journey of the Inspired Evolution, the next best episode. So go on, take your pick and make your click. I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you there.